when he is reborn in a world on the brink of annihilation as a lord of darkness. From the heart of ruin, he will build a civilization like no other and begin his journey to conquer the world. Prepare for the apocalypse record. Minogara. The first episode of this anime begins with a boy named Takuto sitting in his room, playing games on his computer. Suddenly, he falls asleep and wakes up to find himself in a very strange place. A girl calls him king, leaving Takuto very shocked by what is happening. However, he understands that he has entered the game he was playing. This game is a nation management simulation set in a dark fantasy world, and its name is Eternal Nations. His favorite character from the game he plays the most is Atu, the girl standing in front of him. But he doesn't understand his role in this game. He thinks he is playing a character. Since she calls him king, he assumes she means he is the leader of Minogara. Atu tells him that he is the one who achieved the feat of overcoming the nightmare difficulty, all while using the civilization said to be the most difficult to control, the civilization of ruin. He is the legendary player proudly shining at the top of the official user rankings. Takuto is amazed by this. Atu tells him that she remembers everything about him. They conquered the world together many times in the game, and she also remembers the number of times they achieved this, so she wants him not to worry at all. She remembers him from the very beginning. Takuto tells her that he used her a lot in the game to become as strong as she did, and he is very happy to be able to actually talk to her. He then asks her if she was the one who summoned him here. She tells him she didn't, but she found herself here in the blink of an eye. She deduced that this place is not the sky, and if she had to describe it, it seems somewhat like the world of Eternal Nations. She considers this a miracle, but is very happy to see him. She then asks him to start this new life together with her once again. Astonished, he tells her they don't even know where they are. Atu reassures him that they are together, and that maybe this is his world, or maybe it's a completely different one. But just as they have done all those times before, they will start a new life together and build a kingdom for themselves. After that, we see Takuto in the same state of shock. He has no idea what is happening or where this place is, but since he is with Atu, he agrees to start over with her and recreate those bright days in this world. He tells Atu that he agrees to stay here and build a new civilization with her. Atu becomes very happy and tells him that her name is Slime Atu. She is the child born from the slime that will destroy the world. From this moment on, her body and mind are entirely at his command. With great enthusiasm, Takuto tells her that he is ready to build their civilization together as the most evil nation of all time. He adds that she is meticulous and excessively specialized in internal affairs, so she knows what Minogara must do first. He continues, saying they will shut themselves off from the world and close their gates. Suddenly, a long-legged insect is summoned. Takuto and Atu are disgusted by it because it is very creepy. Takuto thinks about killing it, but then considers that the Minogara civilization is a gentle one that controls evil and ruin, so they must keep that in mind before taking any action. This means they must avoid being discovered by others as much as possible, which is their strict rule in the early stages of the game. He then says they must gather information without anyone detecting them. He then commands the long-legged insect, giving it orders as a follower of the glorious Minogara. He orders it to go and scout the surrounding area and warns it not to disappoint its great king, Takuto, and to always ensure its mission is completed. The long-legged insect hurries off to gather news and information for them. Atu is very pleased with it. She was a little scared, but now it is performing its function as a subordinate to their commands as required. At that moment, Takuto tells her that he can share the insect's field of vision, just like in the game. However, to do so requires 100 of his magic points, and they only have 100 remaining. Building a settlement to serve as their initial base will require 20 magic power. Therefore, they must not waste the rest of their magical power. Takuto considers producing a warrior who can fight for and protect them, but that isn't an option. Atu tells him that she will fight hard if they have to. When Takuto looks at her magical power, he finds she has only 3 points. He knows her magical power increases over time, but right now, they are in a very precarious situation due to her low magic. Any encounter with a strong enemy could get them killed. Takuto then tries to see what the insect sees and finds that he has managed to grasp the terrain of the surrounding area, but it is completely covered by forests, and the insect has not encountered any animals or monsters so far. Atu tells him that the forest terrain is ideal for hiding, but it is indeed strange that it hasn't encountered any animals. Takuto adds that there is nothing that could be a source of food either, but he will continue scouting for a while. Atu apologizes for not being of more help. He tells her that just having her by his side is enough, which makes Atu blush. Suddenly, Takuto sees a group of dark elves not far from their location. He sees many of them gathered together. Atu tells him that this confirms they are in a fantasy world. Dark elves are usually neutral, but lean towards neutral evil, so this is comforting for them. Takuto asks her if she is sure this is really the world of Eternal Nations. If there is a settlement of another civilization, it would be bad for them. They want to avoid war as much as possible, which is why they need to stay hidden initially. Being next to another civilization would be very troublesome and a bad start for him. Atu reassures him telling him that if that proves to be the case, they will just run away together. Takuto is comforted by her words and decides to monitor these dark elves to gather information about the surrounding area. If they are unlucky, they will flee together. Suddenly, the group of elves appears before them, shocking Takuto and Atu. The leader seems very afraid of him. At that moment, we go back in time for a bit, where we see the group of elves wandering in the forest, but finding nothing. One of the elves suggests they should leave this cursed land. But what would they gain from leaving the forest now? They have been expelled from their homeland and have nowhere to go. Their children cannot hold out much longer. This area is full of plants. There must be food on the edges of the unknown lands of Iderasia. Then a girl named Emile speaks to her leader, saying that their books mention that something evil was sealed in these lands. And whatever it is, it will not allow life to grow or thrive there. The leader tells her that everything she's saying is superstition. As she can see, the trees are growing very well here. She must not give up. He is sure the spirits of their ancestors will guide them through this ordeal. Although it is indeed a creepy forest, he cannot leave for that reason alone. His people are waiting for him. He then tells his companions that whoever cannot move any further should stay behind to look for food. At that moment, they arrive at Takuto's location. The leader is shocked when he sees him because that creature is very dangerous for them. And Emile was right. He is the embodiment of evil itself. If he does anything, his actions could affect the fate of the entire tribe. My actions could affect the fate of the entire tribe. I must be careful. Then Gaia introduces himself to the king, saying, I am a dark elf from the Mazaram clan, Chief Warrior Gaia. I see you are a person of high rank. Please accept my apology first for entering your forest without permission. Atu replies, It seems you are well aware of what it means to trespass on this land, so what reason drove you to commit this transgression? Gaia tells her, My clan of dark elves, the Mazaram clan, previously resided in the lands of central Iderasia. But our former leaders, the highest authority among the elves, the Quad Council, persecuted us and drove us from our land. We had nowhere else to go, so we came here. The persecution was extremely violent, and we came here fleeing from it. Our food supplies ran out on the way, and because we were trying to evade our pursuers, we couldn't get more food. It has been several days since we last ate anything. All we wanted was to live in peace. The king then throws an apple at him, saying, This is an apple. It tastes delicious if you cut it into the shape of rabbits. Gaia takes it, thinking to himself, Would it be rude to taste it here? And can I do that while our people await our return? Then we see Gaia's friends. It is delicious, very sweet, and also full of juice. Then Atu says that the king is offering him his generosity. Gaia replies, There are many of us who fled to this land with small children. The children are starving. They haven't eaten in days and have become skin and bones. He asks him to provide food for the children instead of eating it himself. After that, the king throws a lot of food at them. Then, Gaia says to himself, The dark elves are despised because they fled from the light. They say we are only allowed to live thanks to the mercy of the light elves. We are subject to this disdain, forced to live in the shadows, far away. No one has ever extended a helping hand to us. The king just told them, This food is for you. They are very surprised. Gaia asks him, Who are you? But the king does not answer him. After that, the scene shifts to Gaia's people, who are very tired and want to eat. Finally, Gaia returns with a lot of food. They rejoice greatly, eat, and weep with sheer joy. Then, Gaia talks with Moltar. Moltar tells him, The fruit you brought was amazing. I have lived a very long life, and yet I have never seen anything like it before. Gaia replies, Yes, I tasted a little of it, and it was wonderful. This is the first time I've discovered that fruit with such a delicious taste exists in this world. I encountered a legendary being in the depths of the forest. I remember Emile mentioned something about a being that was sealed in the cursed lands. Moltar then says to him, Did you meet the King of Ruin? Some legends and old books still exist that say when the world reaches its saturation point, the King of Ruin appears. He will bring ruin to everything and force everyone to start anew. We don't know how true these stories are, but I can't be certain they are lies either. Did he describe himself as such? Gaia informs him. He did not introduce himself to me, but the King of Ruin was terrifying enough to deserve that title. I wouldn't talk to him. He was a being beyond our comprehension, but there was a young woman serving him who clarified some of the king's words for us. Moltar replies, You're not sure if what you encountered was truly the King of Ruin, but it is certainly not a benevolent being. And now that my stomach is full and I've recovered some of my magical energy, it's become clear to me. This forest is unnatural. Perhaps I should have noticed this sooner. No evil being would give gifts without expecting something in return. Gaia tells him, All I did was explain our situation when he asked. He did it out of mercy. His Highness sympathized with our situation and showered us with his generosity. Moltar then gets angry and asks him, You called him His Highness? He bewitched you. You use that expression to show respect. Gaia gets upset with Moltar. He helped us when we were starving. It's only natural that I show him respect because he filled our stomachs. What was I supposed to do? Moltar apologizes, as he also doesn't know what should have been done. I will handle the negotiations with the owner as the leader leader of the Dark Elves. I have lived for 2 centuries now. I will find a way. I wonder when I will finally be able to spend my nights in peace. Then the scene shifts to Atu, who is angry with the king, telling him, "Sit up straight. I want to discuss the expenditure of our rare magic points. We have just started establishing Minogara, and we still don't even know what surrounds us." The king tells her, "I just felt sorry for them. I apologize for using our magic power without asking you. I will fulfill any request you ask of me. I need you with me." Atu replies, "There is no need to make such a promise. As a subordinate, it is a failure to object to the decision of my great king. Issue your orders as you wish." He says to her, "I couldn't speak with those dark elves properly. I can talk to you smoothly, but when I stand in front of others, the words can't come out. I'm simply bad at communication. Even when I was in the hospital, I don't remember having any pleasant conversations with the nurses or doctors. And that is how today's episode of this anime ends. Wait for us in the upcoming episodes. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all that is new. Our episode begins with Ato talking to Takuto. That bug appears, but Ato gets angry at it for talking to King Takuto. Takuto tells her not to be angry, as he was the one who asked it to come back to them from time to time. They then continue their conversation about the elves. Takuto says that having people with different cultures and ideas nearby could create a lot of conflict. Ato asks him if something is worrying him. He tells her that he's not good at communication, so he's not sure if he'll be able to handle the negotiations well. Ato suggests that she handle the negotiations instead, which would help showcase his majesty as the Elf King. She tells him to ask her for anything he needs and never hesitate. Takuto thanks her and tells her he's counting on her and trusts her negotiation skills. Then we see the elder of the Dark Elves, Moltar, along with Gia. They introduce themselves to King Takuto. Ato demands they immediately state what brought them here and what they want from the king. Moltar says, "I express our deepest gratitude for providing food to my people, O king. May I be honored with your noble name?" Ato introduces the king, saying, "This is the lord of the end of the world and the ruler of ruin, Ira Takuto. Be sure to address him as King Ira or King Takuto. My name is Ato, and I serve as King Takuto's assistant. I am of a lower rank than him, but be sure to also show respect when addressing me." Moltar tells her he will always respect her and the king, and promises to engrave their names in the hearts of his people. Ato then allows them to take the food and leave. Moltar asks her how he can repay the kindness the great king. Takuto has shown his people. She tells him it's unnecessary, as she doubts they could make an offer that would satisfy the king anyway, plus they lack the necessary resources. Ato then asks him what they are planning to do. Moltar assures her his intentions are not malicious and that he isn't planning anything. Then King Takuto tries to calm the situation and reminds Ato about the negotiations. Ato gets very angry and tells him that these elves are terrible at negotiating, and if they let them go now, they will hinder them later. She insists it's necessary to eliminate them immediately. Takuto tries to calm her down, telling her he's confident they want to build a mutually beneficial relationship. Instead of helping them for free, they can offer assistance for a price that satisfies them. Ato sees this as a good idea. She informs Moltar and Gia that King Takuto has decided to accept their offer in exchange for the generosity he has shown them. Moltar and Gia become very happy and grateful to the king. Ato then starts thinking about the payment and asks King Takuto what it should be. Takuto tells her the payment is for Moltar to tell them about the outside world beyond this forest. Moltar tells her he will tell them everything they have heard and witnessed outside the forest. Ato says, "All right. Once you have honored your pact, make sure you leave this forest." Takuto then notices Gia trembling and wonders why, thinking to himself that predicting Gia's actions is much easier than that old man's. Moltar then tells them that nothing would make them happier than receiving permission to stay in this forest, where King Takuto resides. Ato tells them she cannot allow that. Furthermore, if they don't want to lose the lives that were just saved, they must not mention what happened here to anyone else. When Gia tries to object, Moltar stops him immediately, telling him that these are the king's wishes, and they must respect them without hesitation. They then leave, but suddenly King Takuto calls out to them and suggests they become his subjects. Everyone is very surprised, and Ato asks him angrily, "What is the meaning of this?" He tells her, "I'm thinking of using an asylum system. The Dark Elves are not inherently good or evil, but if we accept them as refugees in our presence, and assuming things work like in the game, they should become evil beings like us." Ato tells him that they are very different from their main citizens, the demi-humans, and she doesn't want clashes or serious conflicts to arise between them. Takuto says, "There is indeed a risk, but I want you to remember what the demi-humans look like. Can you really bear living with only them as our citizens?" She admits he has a point, as it's difficult to have a normal conversation with the demi-humans, and their appearance is very unpleasant to the mind. They find this to be a good solution, and he asks her to tell Moltar. Ato looks at them and says, "Our king intends to establish a nation here soon. If you wish to become its citizens, he will grant you protection." Moltar asks her, "What will become of us if we become his subjects?" Ato promises him eternal happiness. At that she replies, "I will make you happy and promise you eternal bliss until the day you die. But I suspect that's not what you really want to know, Mr. Chieftain. I believe you will become evil beings. You have the freedom to choose your own destiny. But if you'll allow my personal opinion, things are much more fun on our side than you can imagine." The scene then shifts to King Takuto and his follower. She tells him, "Watch your step. King, you're walking barefoot." They then discuss the elves. "I think any of them would reconsider if they knew they would become an evil being," one says. "They knew from the beginning what the best choice was for them. I can see it now, my king. That is the dark elf camp. Do you see it?" He replied, "Yes, I see it clearly." Finally, the tribe leader calls out, "Everyone, the king has arrived." The king walks past them, but they see such a dark aura that as he passes one of them, the elf faints on the spot. The king then sits amidst everyone and his follower speaks, "And now, we will officially accept all of you, the Dark Elves, as citizens of our new nation, Minogara." She then turns to the king. "King Takuto, are you sure about them?" He tells her, "Yes, my beautiful girl. All the conditions have been met. Well then, let's officially announce the founding of our small country." That elf thinks to himself, "This is it? They told us we would become evil, and that's what we want. But nothing has happened yet." At that moment, something strange happens, and he feels something activate in his heart. Hatred and resentment for any other race. He was very angry and in pain. Then the king comes to him and asks, "What's wrong, boy?" He replied, "Nothing, my king. It's joy. I'm crying tears of joy now." Then everyone rejoices for this silly, goofy king, but they also all cry with sadness. We don't know why. Do you know why, my friends? Write to us in the comments. A few days after his declaration of the nation's founding, he is now holding a piece of paper and saying, "I'm stuck! Disaster! Catastrophe! I don't understand a thing!" He then shows the paper to his servant and says, "Look, this is the continent map I got from Elder Moltar." He was furious and says, "We got a terrible location," and starts jumping and crying on the floor like a little kid. There are two continents. The one we're on is the elves continent, ruled by nature, where they control everything. As for the continent on the right, it's the continent of humans. If they discover us, we don't have the military power to fight. This makes matters even worse. Also, these cursed lands have no natural resources we can use. It's so bad you can't even classify it as hard level, because that would be an understatement of how bad it is. The situation is extremely dangerous, but at least not all the news is bad. Usually on this continent we're on, there are rivers and water sources that are difficult for humans to access. After that, the elves come to give their report. Gia and the tribe leader approach him, and today they brought a helper, Emil. Gia introduces himself and tells them he brought his assistant Emil with him today. Emil is a smart woman with vast knowledge of legends and other nations, and he believes she will be of great use to them. Ato told him that her king is very pleased with their dedication, and that there's no need for such formalities, as he doesn't like them. Then Ato informs them of their future plans, and that their king will appoint them to key positions to manage the kingdom of Minogara. This is the king's decision, and it is final. She then turns to Elder Moltar and informs him that he will handle the administration of the state. She tells him they know he can use magic, so they have high hopes for him. Elder Moltar accepts the position. Ato then turns her words to Gia, telling him he will continue his work as the commander of the warriors and will lead Minogara's forces. They also entrust him with the task of recruitment. Gia is very happy with this position. As long as his king commands it, he will be ready for anything and will instill in his soldiers the love of working with them. Ato adds that their king loves peace, so he must always be sure to remember that. Gia is puzzled. How can the king of ruin be so peaceful? Ato continues, saying they must rest well until they recover their strength, and that they will be assigned to build housing to live in. The elder thanks her very much for this help. He then says to her that his knowledge will be of direct use to them, unlike Gia, who only boasts about his strength. Gia gets angry at him. He then tells them that he is full of energy and doesn't need rest at all. Ato speaks to Takuto in a low voice. They seem to be workaholics. Maybe we can order them to gather resources for now. Takuto thinks for a moment, then suggests something. Terrain improvement. Ato is delighted with this suggestion. She then orders Elder Moltar to gather wood while preserving enough of the forest to not cause damage. The elder agrees, saying that they too are a people who live in the heart of the forest. If they intend to construct buildings using large trees, he is confident in their ability to satisfy the king's wish. Gia is still amazed that the king does not intend to destroy the forest. Takuto wishes them good luck, then asks them not to forget to reforest it again. Gia and the others didn't understand what he meant by the word reforestation. Takuto thinks to himself, from what I know, it seems the technology level of this world's people doesn't go beyond the fortress building stage. They don't know much. Ato asks them in shock. Are you familiar with the terms military magic and the main elements? Elder Moltar replies that he knows the four main elements. as it's a basic concept of magic. But as for the term military magic, they have never heard of any other nation using it. Takuto understands that this world has not yet reached the level of magic technology associated with the 6 main elements, and they are strangely behind in other areas of technology. The elder then says that their magic technology is much poorer than his king thinks. Atto understands that this means they have a chance to get ahead of other nations as soon as they advance in it. She then remembers the meaning of the word reforestation and tells them reforestation is the practice of planting trees on land where trees have been cut down in order to preserve the environment. It's an important step to ensure resources. Emil replies that she doesn't think their magic technology has anything to do with tree growth. That is something that usually takes centuries for them to mature and be ready for cutting. Moltar responds to her, it usually takes centuries for them to mature and be ready for cutting. But are you suggesting something? Atto replied, yes. Reforestation is a technology that uses the main elements to accelerate their growth. This, too, is wisdom born from our great king, Ira. Everyone is astonished when they hear that. She continues her speech. Our king is hundreds of times more amazing than you can imagine. The knowledge born from our king covers many different fields. Do you realize how lucky you are to have received our king's blessing? Emil says, so the apple we had before was also food created by our king. Otto told her, yes, that's right. As for me, I prefer the grapes our king creates. Emil says, grapes, that purple fruit. I found seeds in it and tried to plant them, and they've already started to sprout. I can't wait. Otto says, did you say you planted the grape seeds? The king says to himself, why didn't I notice this sooner? The food I created before was from the modern world. This means I can use my creation ability to make things that don't exist in this city yet. The king then uses his power, and with a flash of light says, with this power, I can create gunpowder, basic metals, even oil. It would take a huge amount of magical energy, but it's obviously a game changer. Is something wrong? Emil asked. Otto replied to her, no, it was just something we overlooked. You have done well, and that's how today's episode of this anime ends. Wait for us in the coming episodes. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe and activate the notification bell to get everything new. Our episode begins with Princess Swalina walking with a group of guards. We see one of the guards telling his friend that he heard the princess possesses a special power, but it seems like a rumor to him. Suddenly, a group of monsters appears before them. The princess uses her magic staff and unleashes an enormous fiery magical power, easily defeating the monsters, much to the astonishment of all the guards. After the monsters disappear, we see the sun shining brightly and flowers beginning to grow from the ground. This power is one of the reasons for repelling evil and maintaining a stable life with the elf kingdom. This power buries its enemies in flames and bids them farewell with flowers. Princess Swalina is one of the 7 great saviors of the continent of Idorajia. She is Princess Swalina, Lady of the Blooming Burial. Then we see the princess asking the cardinal about a matter she discussed with him before, referring to the signs that foretell the end of the world in the Cursed Lands, and the necessity of sending holy knights to investigate. The cardinal tells her that he will never agree to it. It's inconceivable for them to show interest in the Cursed Lands in the distant, dark continent. The Central Command would not allow the use of knights for such a purpose. The princess then tells him that she will go herself, which enrages the cardinal because she doesn't realize the position she holds now and wants to expose herself to danger. She is now the holy princess, no longer that simple village girl. The cardinal is forced to agree to send the knights on this mission, then leaves the princess and departs. Next, we see Takuto and Atto standing before the king's throne. Atto tells him that the Dark Elves worked at an incredibly fast pace to build this throne and council chamber for them. We see that Takuto is very happy with this, and Atto is excited to build a strong civilization on Earth that reaches to the sky. Then Moltar, Gia, and Emily arrive to begin the council meeting. But before starting, Emily presents King Takuto with a gift. Takuto is very pleased with the gift and puts it on. Then the meeting begins with him in great happiness. Moltar then asks Atto about the buildings they should start constructing first, as they have already made preparations like leveling and clearing the land. Atto tells him they will start by building a food production facility, as no one can fight a war on an empty stomach. Moltar asks her, can't the great King Takuto produce infinite quantities with his power? Atto gets angry with him and asks, how long will we rely on the king and burden him? Besides, distribution problems will arise with the expansion of territories. Moltar apologizes for this. Then Atto presents them with a meat tree, but they don't understand and ask her for more clarification. She tells them it's one of the food production facilities in her civilization, a tree that produces mysterious meat that tastes like human flesh and provides a rich and very nutritious harvest. Moltar tells her that everyone might be displeased with the idea of eating human flesh. Atto tells him that they will temporarily plant it as a start and see others' reactions. Then she tells them she also needs a hut to manage it and a building to store food. Atto then discusses the next item on the agenda, research. Since they are still a young nation, they desperately need to acquire the latest technology, which is magic technology. Takuto gets very excited about this, and Moltar tells him that he is also a researcher in the field of magic and will be able to help them as much as possible. He asks them what kind of magic they will research. Atto tells him they will research military magic. Ordinary magic can only target a few dozen people, But military magic allows attacking armies of thousands, and even allows changing the terrain to everyone's advantage. Therefore, they must choose some talented individuals in magic to lead this research. Then they move to military planning. Gia speaks, telling her that they must first organize an army. King Takuto tells them that, for now, they won't focus much on armies, as they don't produce anything but only consume resources and magical energy. Gia tells them that the current warrior squad does not possess enough power to protect the king, and what's worse, there are bounties on his and Moltar's heads for being leaders of the Dark Elves. Otto realizes that they are worried about being hunted. King Takuto agrees to produce a hero. Otto agrees to this, stating that even though producing a hero has a high production cost, it barely requires any maintenance, making it an ideal option. Gia asks her, what is a hero? Otto responds to him that in Minogara, several heroes serve under their king. They are all powerful and possess special abilities, even if they are all somewhat crazy monsters. However, several conditions must be met to summon them, and they must be able to summon at least one. In addition to armies needing constant resources, they also draw attention, whereas a hero can help them maintain their secrecy. Therefore, they will produce a hero, and then they can rest easy. Takuto confirms this, assuring them all that they will be fine and peace will prevail in the region. To achieve this, they need to gather magical energy from the places and habitats where it exists. It will be very difficult, but this meeting will reveal many things, and consulting on matters is the most important thing. To gather opinions, collect them, and analyze them well. Therefore, people of the Millennium Forest, Takuto declares, I will lead everyone to the pinnacle of happiness. Meanwhile, the scene shifts to a city where we see a hero named Lonius. Someone calls out to him, saying, what are you doing here, my friend? We have no time to waste. But Lonius replies, be silent. I am praying to God, asking him to relieve our distress. So you must be silent, Sir Virdel. The other person says, fine, you're free to do as you please, but do you have a wife and children? Lonius answers, yes, my wife is Marcia, and my daughter is Minnie. But don't worry about that. Let's go on our journey, which will last for several days. They will send us to the Dark Continent to investigate a vision that Suelina, the saint, had. I know, if we succeed, we will be appreciated by the Southern Provinces Conference. And if we fail, I will be held responsible as an auxiliary knight. The other person replies, but our strength is very meager. The force consists of 2 leaders, you and me. They told us to make up the numbers using mercenaries, but perhaps we will investigate the matter. There are no clear standards for the size of the forces deployed, but we don't know what the superiors are thinking. They must have a reason to force these 2 people to join the same journey. We will know everything later. Then they go outside, and people call out to him, Lonius, we've been waiting for you, you idiot. Perhaps these are the mercenaries they hired for the mission. The scene shifts to the forest, and we see Takuto, the foolish king, for whom a beautiful house has been built atop a tree. Civilization is developing little by little. The place is vibrant with life. The feeling is wonderful. Everyone is happy. Yes, that is the new residential area. They specialize specifically in building houses on trees. It's wonderful work, my friends. I want to build a house like this on a tree. What about you? Write in the comments if you want a house like this or not. Moreover, the meat trees are growing at a good pace, and the food storage will soon be complete, where Elder Moltar leads many talented individuals in magic at the Magic Research Institute to begin research immediately. They have also managed to discover a nearby water spring to secure a permanent source, and are currently studying the creation of a water canal. As for this building, where their king resides, it is also the headquarters for the General Administration for handling paperwork. Otto knows that Minogara's system of governance deserves a more imposing headquarters, but this is the most they can achieve, so it is this size for now. Takuto is very happy that she completed the tasks he asked of her, and tasks he didn't even order, such as securing a water source, which he greatly appreciates. But more importantly, these Dark Elves, who were languishing until he met them, are now full of life. He knows that he gave them this opportunity, and seeing them like this makes him very happy. When Emily found him silent and not speaking to her, she became worried, telling him that they carried out his orders out of their desire to repay his kindness. Takuto tells her that this is truly wonderful, and he is happy to have welcomed them all as his citizens. Emily thanks him for that, crying profusely. Then she takes them to a tree, where she will continue guiding them on their inspection tour. Takuto is happy that Emily has regained her composure. No girl had ever cried because of him before, so this indeed unsettled him. Emily then informs them that the meat trees here are almost ready for harvest. She knows they were relying on them, but everything is going smoothly thanks to the high-quality agricultural tools and equipment Takuto provided. Takuto tells her he will continue supplying them with tools for now to help them progress quickly, but he secretly worries that their quality might be poor if they make them themselves. Otto laughs at him and tells him that this is akin to cheating. Otto says that using cheat-like abilities to assert dominance is incredibly enjoyable. Then, the tree speaks, telling them it's mature enough to eat. Otto now understands that they have secured the necessary food production to sustain the inhabitants of Minogara. Emily asks them to accompany her to the water source. As they walk through the very strange forest, Emily grows uneasy. Suddenly, she is shocked to see the spring they finally found. Gia tells her he came along to assess the possibility of building a canal after Emily informed him. However, he knows this water is no longer suitable. They all look at him. Otto tells them it is suitable, then drinks from it, finding it very delicious. Everyone is shocked. Otto then tells them that this water is called the Cursed Domain, and it's proof that this land has become part of Minogara's territory. She asks them to try the water, and they find it indeed suitable. Otto then explains that this Cursed Domain grants advantages to evil creatures and imposes disadvantages on neutrals and good beings. Since they have become citizens of Minogara, they have transformed from neutrals to evil, so they understand that it is not only safe, but also provides a more comfortable environment for them to live in. Gia drinks from it again, finding it perfectly normal and drinkable. This cursed domain is absolutely perfect for defense, and soon all the lands of their kingdom will transform into this form. Moltar is very happy and says, "As expected of our great king, it's truly an amazing power." The king tells them that there's only one problem. It clearly draws attention, and they must maintain strict surveillance on the surrounding area. The girl, Atto, tells them not to worry because their king will produce a hero. However, they are not convinced about the hero. Suddenly, many octopus-like arms emerge from her and instantly cut down some trees, shocking everyone. Otto tells them, "I forgot to tell you, but I am also a hero. What you saw was only 1/100th of what I can do. Those called heroes possess immense power. They can wipe out entire armies." The king states that the hero's power is incredibly strong, and that they don't draw attention and continue to gain power over time, even without doing anything. Then the king tells Otto, "You didn't have to destroy the forest just to show off your power. You could have postponed it, but make sure to clean it up later." Otto is shocked by this. Everyone supports the king and the hero Otto, and says that it is essential to build a palace worthy of their king. The king tells them, "We don't need a palace. I am comfortable in a house like everyone else's." Everyone rejects this, and Moltar says, "I know it's rude to object to your opinion, your highness, but please reconsider." After they pressure him, the king finally agrees to build a palace for him. Everyone is happy about this and pledges their loyalty to him, renewing their oath and promising to do all of that and more for him. The king is very pleased. On another front, we see the Holy Knights continuing their journey, killing monsters one after another. They have eliminated all of them. Lonius hopes their progress continues at this pace in the Dark Continent. And with that, our episode for today ends. Wait for us in future episodes of this anime, but we kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all new updates. Our new episode begins with that group. It seems they are groups of knights, and the commander is speaking with his friend, telling him, "You have done well in appointing this large group of mercenaries. You were lucky in this, or perhaps you are just that smart." The other thanks him for the kind words and praise. Most of the mercenaries are in the north at the moment, where the disturbances, called the Northern Troubles, suddenly appeared in the northern province of the Holy Kingdom of Koalia. They raided the villages, causing severe damage, and burned crops and homes. The army was quickly dispatched to contain the situation, but the unrest continues with no signs of calming down. But it doesn't matter to us, as we are heading south to the southern lands, to the Cursed Lands. No one knows what we might face there, so be fully prepared. After that, we see this masked figure. We don't know who he is. Write to us in the comments if you know him. The scene shifts to the evening, where the commander is talking with Burgo and asks him, "What was that talk about the sorceress?" Burgo replies, "It's just a rumor, sir. People are saying that the disturbances in the north are caused by some sorceress." The commander tells him, "It's not like that. It can't be that all of this was caused by one person. Perhaps the matter is more serious than that. But don't trouble yourselves. We are on leave now and shouldn't talk about these things. They are truly terrifying. We should eat, drink, and forget everything. There's no need to worry. In the end, things will be intense, but we won't be defeated for lack of numbers. Our number is very large, and we are also strong." The other man told him not to be arrogant, because arrogance would cost him a lot, and many armies in the past were brought down because of their arrogance in their numbers. Then Verdel, the man with brown hair, says to them, "Perhaps in the southern region are the elves who have fled there. We will investigate them because they are very skilled in killing and assassinations, and if the situation worsens, we can escape." Sir Lawrence is surprised and says, "Sir Verdel, I disagree. Is this the spirit we should have as strong soldiers of the 2nd Field Army? What is this you're spouting, man? Aren't we supposed to risk even our lives to eliminate evil if we find it?" He told him, "Sir Lawrence, don't let glory blind you. There will come a time when that will be necessary for us knights, but it is not a matter for you to decide so easily. You have a family, and the same applies to me and the rest of us here. We have good reason not to die, but we must take precautions." Then he stands up and says to them, "Soldiers, eat and drink as you wish, for today is a day off." The scene shifts to the forest, where King Takuto and everyone are gathered around him, saying, "What is this? Is something about to happen?" Everyone is wondering what the situation is and why the king has gathered them. Then Takuto uses his power on those things, and this strange creature emerges. A fruit from the flesh tree appears to them at that moment. Everyone is shocked because it is transformed into a long-legged insect. He informs them that he cast his magic on it and it transformed like this. Then Oto tells them that this is the power of their king, and that he still possesses much more power than this. Their devotion and happiness will grant their king even greater powers, She then asks them to listen carefully, as they must show their king more loyalty. Everyone agrees, and then they cheer their king's name. After that, Takuto sits with Otto, where Otto tells him that she is happy that things are going well, and she is also pleased that they were able to use normal production safely. Otto told her that she was right, but what relieved him more was that they backed down when he smiled to ignore their question. However, he also wondered what that meant. Otto replied that she didn't think the matter would be as simple as just gathering resources, adding magical energy to them, and then everything would be done. She said thinking about things they don't understand is of no use. This is the most important thing for them. Then she tells him that thanks to the recent ritual, they were able to confirm that they can safely produce new units, which means the next steps will come safely. At that moment, Takuto decides to perform a hero summoning. Although they currently have to gather a lot of magical energy, they finally have a clear path. With 2 heroes by their side, they will secure the fighting power they need. Otto asked him who he intends to summon first. He told her he will summon the Insect Queen, Isela. He is thinking of starting with her, as she is extremely powerful. The Insect Queen Isela is one of Minogara's proudest heroes, and has an insectoid form. Furthermore, she possesses the ability to enhance all insect units, turning the long-legged insects into first-rate fighters. On top of that, Isela can produce larval units to be her workforce. Isela enhances performance in both war and internal affairs, which is why she is the hero he desperately needs right now. Otto gets very excited because summoning Isela early increases the workforce, and gaining more power is a classic strategy when facing many unknown elements. It is wise to follow the most trustworthy strategies. Takuto adds to her words that the rest of the heroes have terrible personalities, so they had no choice but Isela. Takuto remembers something. One of them loves to conquer the world, and another loves to plunge it into chaos, and that all their heroes have some kind of problem. Takuto replied that since they want to focus on internal affairs for now, the idea of summoning them isn't good. However, they cannot do without their abilities, and he also wants to meet them personally, so he intends to summon them eventually. He just hopes they don't cause trouble. He wants to live in peace. After that, we cut to the Holy Knights as they are attacked by a giant. It's a hill giant. The knights prepare to face and fight it. They didn't expect to be attacked in the middle of the day, but that's what's expected from the Dark Continent. Everyone decides to engage immediately, as they have no time to waste with delays. One of the knights advances toward the giant and asks the other knights not to do anything, because if one of them draws its attention, it will be a big problem. Everyone stands silent. The giant tries to attack this knight, and the knight uses holy sword magic, the secret technique of Koalia, which they use with the movement of the sword to gain great power. Suddenly, the giant strikes at the knight with its large club. The knight manages to block its blows and break the club in half. The holy knights who have been granted the power have their physical abilities enhanced, their bodies filled with a power capable of annihilating humans. For a holy knight, that power rivals that of a lesser dragon. The hill giant didn't stand a chance. Verdal succeeds in defeating the giant. Then Lawrence says to him, "With power like this, we should be able to accomplish our mission without any problems." Then we go to King Takuto, who is eating a burger. Otto says to him, "Why don't you eat something of better quality? You should eat healthier meals." The king replied, "I'm tired of doing that. I ate a lot of those things in the hospital." Then he tells her that he is very worried about her because she only eats salads. Otto replies to him, "This suits my taste better." Takuto thinks to himself, "Your habits are too healthy for someone with an evil alignment." He then thinks, still, the pace at which things are progressing is accelerating. Then, Otto says to him, "Regarding the materials needed to build the palace, the Dark Elves are making a great effort." King Takuto cuts her off, saying, "When I'm done eating, you can summon Moltar and the others. Thanks to the long-legged insects, I can also see the area surrounding the forest. I thought I would consult with them about how to deal with that city. It doesn't belong to Koalia, nor is it affiliated with that country that is loyal to good." Otto says to him, "Yes, Koalia is located far to the north. This city is from a different, neutral country in the east. We really have to decide how we will deal with them, because they will be the first to discover our existence, due to their proximity to us." King Takuto is pleased, saying, "I'm glad it's a neutral country. If they were loyal to good, we wouldn't have been able to negotiate with them." Then Otto tells him anyone else coming here would be a problem because they would only come with a specific purpose. Takuto tells her there are no signs that anyone knows of our existence. Suddenly, the king feels something strange. He then says, "It seems someone has come here already. There is an armed squad approaching the forest. I want to avoid drawing attention for now. Go and send them away in the most peaceful way possible. And if that's not possible, after that we see the knights getting ready." Lawrence says, "These are the cursed lands and the cursed sea of trees that repels life. Let's go. Everyone is surprised when they see a young girl. Verdel speaks with her and asks, "What are you doing in these cursed lands?" Otto replies to them, "I am a dark elf. I fled to this forest to survive. It's clear to me that you are a holy knight from Koalia. What brings you here today?" Verdel then said, "I cannot tell you the reason for our visit. Answer our question first." She tells him, "I simply live with my sisters, who suffered a similar fate. I do not advise you to enter this forest. I ask you to refrain from doing so." Lawrence gets angry with her, saying, "We are men chosen by the city." But Verdel gets angry at him for speaking while he was present. Lawrence thinks to himself that he didn't say anything to deserve such a rebuke. Then Verdel says, "We came here on a mission." "And we cannot go back just because you don't want us to," Verdel said. The elf Otto tells them, "My sisters are in a state of fear and panic. We all suffered a long and painful journey until we finally found a place to live in peace. I beg you to show us some mercy." Verdel is not convinced by her words and believes there is something in this forest. Otto tells him that there is nothing but tranquility and calm. "But what has made you, a holy knight, so interested in a gloomy forest like this?" Then he says to her, intensely and violently, "We came, under the orders of our commander. We were told that a complete disaster lies dormant in this land, and we cannot return without confirming the truth." Everyone is shocked by this, as it is a military secret that no one is allowed to disclose. Lawrence becomes very angry, because revealing a military secret without permission is a sinful betrayal of trust. Even for a high holy knight, his authority has limits. He then says, "I will report this when we return home." Verdel tells him, "Do as you wish." Otto says to them, "I am very sorry, but you will not be able to enter this forest." Everyone is shocked by these words. The elf girl, her eyes turning red, says to them, "There is nothing in this land to worry you, Sir Holy Knight. I beg you to understand and return from where you came." Verdel tells her that all they need is to enter for just a moment. Otto tells them that this is also forbidden. Verdel asks her to confirm that there is no disaster for him or his people, because elves are a kind people who fear such things and love to live in peace. The girl swears to him that no harm will befall them, and that there are no disasters in this city. At that, Verdel asks everyone to leave. Lawrence is shocked by this decision and becomes very angry because he feels an evil energy coming from this girl and does not believe her. Verdel, very angry, tells him, "I trust her words. Trust is part of our creed." A huge argument erupts between them, which ultimately ends with Verdel insisting on returning home with everyone. But suddenly, Lawrence, at the peak of his anger, says, "For shame, High Holy Knight Verdel. I see you have abandoned our mission. I strip you of your authority. You not only revealed a military secret, but also intend to return without investigating. I cannot entrust this mission to someone who would do that. Therefore, I will take command from now on. I order everyone to enter these cursed lands so we can investigate for ourselves." Verdel orders everyone to listen to him, but they cannot because Lawrence is the one who appointed them. The elf girl, Otto, says to them, "Please, do not act rashly. We can still resolve this through dialogue." Lawrence orders her to be silent, and that if she continues to interfere, they will show her no mercy. He orders the soldiers to seize her, but Verdel quickly stops them, telling them never to touch an unarmed person. Otto says, "It seems dialogue has failed." A few moments later, Lawrence finds himself passed out on the ground. He wakes up quickly and finds his hand covered in blood. He looks around and sees that all the soldiers are dead. This girl is holding them one by one with her octopus-like hands, and they are all killed. Verdel, the other survivor, says, "This girl is a sorceress." The girl, Otto, tells them, "Everything was going so well. Life isn't something that always goes well. I wonder, will she let them leave unharmed?" This is what we will find out in the next episode, so stay tuned. But we ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all that is new. The scene shifts to several people working hard to build a better and bigger village for their king. Meanwhile, two sisters wonder why they are still alive. After a while, the king's palace is finally completed, and they watch excitedly, eager to see inside. Upon entering, they are all enchanted. Despite many problems, this is where they will begin their lives. The boy sits on his throne, wanting to expand it as soon as possible once he gets a few days of rest. The palace is now huge, and he wants his kingdom to be as well. Atu becomes even more enthusiastic and wants the palace to reach the sky. Vassals who serve him are great heroes, bold and determined. Furthermore, there will be many servants at the king's disposal. Takuto becomes even more excited after this speech. Suddenly, Atu starts screaming, realizing that there is no one to attend to the king at the moment. Only now did Takuto register what she said, that there is no one to serve him. Atu begins to blame herself for being a terrible servant. Takuto asks her to stop exaggerating, as he doesn't want her to be bothered by it. Nevertheless, she is bothered. All Takuto wants is someone easy to talk to be his servant. The boy cannot speak to the dark elves at all, so he always feels severely marginalized by them. He wants to try to be a more friendly king to everyone. She explains that this is because Takuto's status is too high for the people, but she just wants him not to worry. She has a brilliant idea to solve the problem and wants some time to put it into practice. Takuto knows that nothing good comes from her enthusiasm. Shortly after, Dia and the elder appear to speak with the king. Atu asks him to gather all the little girls because Takuto wants them all. The boy is terrified, and so is the elder. In Atu's mind, her plan is to have the girls serve as his maids so he can practice conversation. The elder asks why Takuto wants the little girls, and Atu replies that he likes young girls. Takuto gets furious and explains everything everything to the elder, who understands. The elder gets that Takuto wants innocent children around so he won't get bogged down in social complexities when talking. Everyone is relieved after Takuto explains. Atu clarifies that there is another concern. Takuto is being careful to avoid draining the workforce. The children will take care of Takuto, but only by helping with daily tasks. Even young children might be capable of doing something like this. Dia asks if they can be boys too. Takuto explains that he will have the children study for everyone's future and would like for women to have more opportunities. The elder notes that this is a good idea. Everyone is very excited that the king always demonstrates excellent policies. Gia is surprised that Takuto is already looking to the future, aiming to develop new talent. Atu asks them to stop talking for a bit and bring their daughters. Takuto is excited and can now improve his communication skills. When they bring the children to Takuto, they all end up crying. Atu gets completely annoyed and asks if there are any children who don't cry when they see the king. Dia reminds her that there are twins. The elder thinks that bringing the two girls to the king might be too rude. Atu wants to know what they are talking about, and the elder explains that they are girls who keep to themselves, but there is a small problem. He believes they would be unsuitable to serve the king. Atu tells them to bring the girls before deciding anything. The elder agrees to bring them. Dia replies that he has already brought them, and that, unlike the elder, he is always thinking 2 or 3 steps ahead for the king. Shortly after, the two girls appear and introduce themselves to the king. The youngest is Korea Elfer, and the oldest is Maria Elfer. Atu notices they seem to be children with a dark past, and wants to know how Korea got the marks on her shoulder. She replies that it was from an illness, but the elder decides to explain further. He says they are wounds caused by a plague, and although she recovered, the marks remained. The eldest, however, went through something even more difficult. She ate her own mother. The elder explains that their mother was a difficult and very proud person, and that their clan has never forgotten the sacrifice she made for everyone. Takuto now understands what happened. They traveled for a long time after being driven from their homes, and of course faced challenges that required extreme decisions, such as starvation. Shortly after, the girl begins to approach and sees Takuto in his original form. Takuto asks if she can take care of him, and she accepts without a second thought. Therefore, from this day forward, Maria will be a candidate for the kingdom's leadership. Atu is surprised that Takuto can speak to a girl. The boy asks if Karia is afraid. She replies that she isn't, because as the younger sister, her duty is to stay with her older sister. The two sisters agree to serve the king, and he then explains that the king has granted them his permission. From now on, the two will work to care for their king. Later, the elder appears to speak briefly with Takuto. He explains that those two girls haven't cried even once since they lost their mother. Their hearts have remained closed. He wishes that Takuto would look after them with patience and mercy. There is something you must know. The two girls have not cried even once since they lost their mother. Their hearts are still completely closed. I ask that you watch over them with patience and mercy. Tacto replied, "All right, do not worry about a thing." Then, one of the girls comes to him with a drink. It might be sobia juice or perhaps sugarcane juice, but she spills it on him. She apologizes, and he tells her, "It's all right." She then cleans his clothes. At this point, Atto intervenes and says to them, "You must be careful from now on. We have an emergency meeting, and you both will attend. Try to avoid any mistakes." The scene shifts to the meeting. Everyone is seated, and Tacto is now listening to everyone. Atto begins with reports on their current situation since construction began. A woman stands and says, "I am Amiel, the one in charge of construction. After we finished building the palace, we now have a surplus of labor. Our wood supplies are stable, praise be to God, and we have plenty of other resources as well. I believe we can begin building new facilities." They ask Tacto, "Now, based on this information, can we proceed with the next building we discussed in the previous meeting?" He told them, "Yes. And I want to include a clinic for the health and safety of our citizens. We also want it to be low cost, which makes it the best option for now," the official replied. "As you command. I will relay this to the head of labor immediately." The next item, she continued, is the state of our resources, for which I am responsible. Our local gathering of food and materials is proceeding smoothly. With the king's help, we have also managed to secure the daily necessities that we don't produce ourselves. However, since this consumes a high amount of magical energy, the balance between resources and output in this area isn't quite right. Using magical energy for emergency production is very convenient, yet it is a necessary expenditure, so we will continue to use it. We must prioritize buildings and research that increase our magical energy production. Then, Otto speaks up. "Since the topic of magical energy has been raised, let's move on to our research." The person in charge of research stands and says, "We have completed our research into military magic. I have mastered it instantly. I am the only one who can use it for now, but I will train everyone. I believe that unleashing powerful magic using the ruinous magical energy provided by the palace will be absolutely crucial for our future. However, considering our king's policies, I doubt we will use it often." Otto replied, "Yes, it is very useful, but it is of no use at all in internal affairs. Therefore, let's proceed according to the plan and move on to the 6 main elements in the superpower skill tree. There is little to be gained from researching any other field right now. Now, we will discuss the army," she announced. The army commander stands and says, "Yes, the chief warrior, that is I, Gia, is ready for service. We have added 5 new long-legged insects to our forces. Their primary role is to scout the unknown lands surrounding the cursed lands. But within the cover of that cursed territory, the area behind the forest is all plains. We are focusing on maintaining stealth, so we cannot currently conduct bold exploration missions. However, we will now task the long-legged insects with extensive patrols around our perimeter. But Otto told him, I am currently sufficient for reconnaissance operations, as you saw for yourself when that group arrived and I confronted them. Furthermore, we have officially decided to produce a new hero. I am now planning to summon the insect queen Isela. The responsible official stands and gives her a report on the matter, stating that they have already acquired enough wood and provisions and are hoping to move her to the arching site. With that, the day's agenda was concluded. They then asked the king for his thoughts. He told them, this is very good. I have no objection to the plans you have mentioned. You are all doing a wonderful job. Bravo. Afterward, the king goes outside and bumps into the 2 maids. We are very sorry, they said. Then they ask him, Your Majesty, are you an evil person? He told them that he is aligned with evil. So they asked, then why don't you kill? He asked them, kill whom? So Maria asked him why he hadn't killed them, since he loves evil. Takuto couldn't answer her, so her sister, Kariya, tried to rephrase the question, explaining that her older sister was asking why their great and mighty king would show mercy to children like them. Takuto replied that he wouldn't do anything to them because they take care of him, but he understood they were angry because he was being too kind, despite being an evil person. Takuto then asked them to listen carefully to what he was about to say. A good person, he explained, is only allowed to do what is right. He cannot harm others, he cannot steal from others, and killing people is completely out of the question for him. He then asked them, what do you think an evil person should do? Maria replied that he should do evil things and commit terrible acts. Takuto told them they were mistaken. An evil person, he said, is allowed to do anything. He can do good things, and he can do evil things. But evil people are selfish and completely free. They are allowed to believe in what they think is right as they move forward without looking back. Therefore, it is perfectly natural for me to be kind to you. I am an evil person, after all. Maria asked, won't you be punished for this one day? He replied, if I kill the good person who comes to punish me first, then I won't be punished. He knew they had been deliberately failing in their tasks all those times. The 2 girls grew tense, realizing he understood them. They tried to explain that they should have been the ones to die. Takuto understood that they couldn't forgive themselves for surviving at the cost of their mother's life, and that's why they were seeking salvation through death. He surmised they believed that if he got angry enough with them, he would kill them as a form of punishment. He then approached Maria and asked, are you here now for a reason? You are here because someone did what was necessary for you to survive. They knew very well who he was talking about. Kariya replied, it was very hard for us. Takuto told them, doing bad things isn't always wrong. Your mother did the right thing, just as you have. You should be proud of that. You are still alive, because your mother's love overcame fate. Kariya asked him, what should we do now? Takuto told them to live their lives as they wish. By doing so, their mother's love would be rewarded, and she would be proud of them. They were now free to do anything and had no need to do anything to seek forgiveness, as long as they acted in a way that would have made their mother proud. He added that he would praise them for whatever they did, and that there was no need for them to hide their feelings. At this, the 2 girls began to cry profusely. After a while, Otto entered and found that Takuto and the girls had become very close. She told him the next matter concerned that city, and asked if they would be going somewhere else. Otto then spoke about this city, saying, the city of Forngown is a neutral, multi-ethnic nation, composed mainly of humans and beastmen. It appears the city's name is Dragonton. This nation uses a parliamentary system run by shamans known as staff-bearers. Takido said to her, a multi-ethnic nation like this would merge multiple cultures and ideologies, so its diplomacy should be promising. Although it's a somewhat remote city, why would they build in a place like this? It would cost a lot to secure trade and distribute goods here. Otto informed him that she had information on that matter. It seems there is a dragon pulse mine within the city, she said, and this mine is capable of producing magical energy. Therefore, I believe we must secure it if we can. It also appears that Dragonton is currently on high alert. We were only able to observe them from a distance, but we have confirmed attacks by barbarians like goblins and ghouls. It seems they are struggling to fight them off. Takuto asked her, do you think they'll receive reinforcements from their homeland? Otto replied, there have been no signs of reinforcements in the areas we can monitor. This city is located in a rather isolated territory, so they probably can't send any reinforcements. Takuto thought to himself for a few moments. If they are attacked, there will likely be refugees. Otto replied, if we can take them in, we might be able to increase our town's population. Takuto asked, have you opened the Dragon Pulse mine? Otto replied, our turn is next. We will be sending diplomats to the neutral nation of Forngown. And that's how today's episode ends. If you liked the video, hit the like button, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all our new content. Our story begins in the land of Ferngon, a neutral and multi-ethnic nation where humans and beastmen coexist. We learn of a city within this nation, Dragonton, which appears to be on high alert. Attacks by barbarians, such as goblins and ghouls, have been confirmed, signaling that a wave of refugees is imminent. To address the growing crisis, a diplomatic mission is being dispatched. The scene shifts to a group of individuals who do not appear to be human. They are met by a mysterious figure named Atwa, whose presence is unsettling. "Who are you?" they ask. "You're not from around here." Army commanders quickly surround her and her companions, their senses overwhelmed by an incredibly dense and terrifyingly dark aura emanating from the newcomers. In a state of shock, the commander, a woman named Tonoko Boli, turns to her subordinate and commands, "Do not attack them out of panic." Just as tensions reach a breaking point, Atwa orders her own soldiers to fall back. In that critical moment, a small boy named Bibi steps forward, breaking the silence. "My name is Bibi," he says, cheerfully, looking directly at the intimidating Atwa. "Would you tell me your name, scary dark lady?" It was this clever boy's disarming innocence that shattered the tension, preventing a conflict that seemed destined for death and destruction. Later, we see the two groups walking through the forest, together, getting acquainted. "We've fought many battles in this forest," one of them mentions. They are on their way to meet the king, and Commander Tonoko Boli can't help but wonder, what awaits us? After a half-hour walk, they finally stand before the so-called foolish king, Takto. His presence is terrifying, like darkness personified. Tonoko thinks to herself, her heart filled with dread, how did something so horrifying come to live? So close to us? I never imagined it would lead to this. She regrets bringing the mischievous boy to such a dangerous place. Her mind flashes back to a recent incident. A giant troll was attacking her village, but Bibi, the staff wielder, used powerful magic to bring the beast crashing to the ground. He stood victoriously atop its body and declared, "Good people, you may rest easy. I am here to protect you." "Amazing, Master Bibi. You're incredible." The villagers cheered. "That's right. Praise me more. Encourage me more. I love it." He beamed, basking in their adoration. But his celebration was cut short as the giant troll struggled back to its feet. Bibi reacted instantly, unleashing a torrent of quicksand and plant magic to bind the monster, throwing it back down. A volley of arrows from the village archers finished it for good. Just then, Tonoko Boli appeared and smacked him soundly on the head. "I've told you so many times not to call me Grandma," she scolded. "I am a miss. Still in my 40s after 200 years. In the prime of my youth and health. Now listen, you are the only young staff wielder here. You must be more aware of the situation and act like a leader." Her tone grew serious. "I'm worried about your future, Bibi. We are heading to the cursed lands. You weren't listening to the elders, were you? They saw omens of the world's end coming from that place, which is why we must investigate. If these barbarian attacks continue, our isolated city of Dragontan will be doomed. We have to hurry." When Bibi seemed ready to wave her off, she snapped, "You idiot! You're coming with us. In fact, you'll be at the very front." Back in the present, Tonoko is consumed by regret. "I am such a fool," she thinks. "I should never have brought Bibi here. I don't want to sacrifice him." At that very moment, Bibi, completely unfazed by the terrifying king before them, walks forward with a brilliant smile. "Pleased to meet you, Commander," he says to the dark figure. "Let's be friends. What's your name?" Lady Tonoko Boli could only stare, utterly stunned by his fearless, carefree audacity. When Lady Tonoko Boli heard Bibi ask the fearsome Takuto to be his friend, she was utterly horrified and immediately begged the king to forgive the boy's forwardness. But Takuto, to her surprise, simply told her he didn't mind. An ecstatic Bibi had found a new friend, and for the first time in this land, King Takuto had one as well. Later, during dinner, Atwa presented Lady Tonoko Boli with a special drink, explaining with pride that in their nation of Minogara, it was considered the most delicious beverage in the world. As she tasted it, the lady's eyes widened. "I can't believe something this sweet exists in the world," she marveled, also noting she had never before seen tableware of such high quality. Meanwhile, Bibi was with Mari, asking about the same drink. "It's apple juice," she told him. "And it's delicious." He immediately asked for another cup. To entertain his new friends, he began to demonstrate his magical abilities. As Takuto watched, he thought to himself, "Bibi has amazing social skills. I could never do that." It was the first time he'd ever had a friend, and he was unsure how to act. He knew, however, that these were important talks with Ferngone, and he must not get carried away. "Bibi," the king called out, "would you like to play a game with me?" Everyone was stunned that their king would suggest such a thing, but Bibi happily agreed. They sat down to play, and in the first round, Bibi won. A look of pure joy spread across Takuto's face. He had never played games like this before, and the experience was entirely new to him. He asked Bibi for another round, determined not to lose this time. As promised, Takuto emerged the victor. "You're a strong opponent," Bibi exclaimed. "Your apple juice is delicious, and this game is so much fun. I'm so glad I came to Minogara." He then added innocently, "Why don't you sell these things in our country? I bet everyone would love them." Lady Tonoko Boli tried to silence him, but Takuto was intrigued. "We were planning to open trade routes anyway," he thought. "I'm glad Bibi mentioned it." He knew there were details to sort out, but playing with his new friend was a delight. Now, however, it was time for diplomacy. "Bibi, be quiet," Lady Tonoko Boli snapped. seeing how comfortable he had become with the king. Atwa calmly intervened, asking the lady to explain the reason for their visit. With stark honesty, the lady confessed, "Our country has been suffering from repeated barbarian attacks. They usually avoid the larger cities, but recently, they have been coming in astonishing numbers. We came here to investigate." Takuto's perception was sharp. "You are militarily weak," he stated. The lady was shocked that he could deduce so much from her demeanor and feared he would refuse to negotiate now that he knew their weakness. "We are capable of repelling them," she said quickly. "It is just that their behavior is strange. So it is best to be cautious." "This sounds very disturbing," Atwa commented, "and should not be ignored." "Yes," Lady Tunokabuli agreed, trying to project strength. "Two of our most powerful staff wielders have been sent to investigate. I hope you see this as proof of our trust in you." "I thought we were sent to investigate because our country will be destroyed if we don't find a way to deal with them," Bibi blurted out. "I didn't say anything wrong, did I?" Everyone stared at him in stunned silence. "How dare you say such a thing?" Lady Tunokabuli whispered, her face flushed with anger. Atwa turned to the distraught commander. "I sympathize with you," she said gently. "We have no intention of harming Ferngone. You may think that evil beings like us are plotting something, but our greatest concern is always for our own. Minogara is a peace-loving, evil nation. As for the barbarians who attacked you, if Dragontan falls, we understand that this matter concerns us as well. Are you willing to help us?" the lady asked, a flicker of hope in her eyes. "We put great effort into building that city for the Dragon's Pulse mine," she thought. "Perhaps they are serious about helping us." Atwa then turned to her king. "Your Majesty, what is your opinion?" "Friends," the king said with a simple, profound truth, "should help each other." At his words, both Bibi and the old lady were overjoyed. "What would you like in return?" Lady Tunokabuli asked, her voice filled with gratitude. "You can take as much as you wish." Atwa stated their price. "The Dragon's Pulse mine," she said. "We are perfectly content with shared control. It's not as if we need such a massive amount of magical energy right now, but we do wish to have a say in determining which element it will be converted to." Lady Tunokabuli stared in astonishment. "You want to convert the mine's pure magical energy into specific elements? That is a technology that should require another 10 years to develop. It seems your research is far ahead of ours." She then turned her gaze to the small boy beside her. "Bibi is a fool, the greatest fool among us. But this boy, he is the future of our nation. In the days to come, he will lead Ferngone as the representative of the staff wielders. Moreover," she added, her voice firm with conviction, "Bibi is a better judge of character than anyone in our entire nation. The decision is his. As a staff wielder, you have that right." Bibi looked at his new friends, his answer clear and simple. "I want to befriend the people of Minogara," and so the agreement was sealed. Later, the leaders of Minogara gathered to review the negotiations. "Let's confirm the decisions we reached," Atwa began. "We have agreed to export supplies and games to Ferngone," another official reported. "In return, we will import daily necessities and mineral products." An old councilman nodded in approval. "It will be a great relief to acquire these items. Until now, we have relied on our king for everything. Our biggest gain," Atwa announced, "is securing access to the Dragon's Pulse mine." King Takuto reflected on the events. "If it weren't for Bibi," he mused, "our talks might have ended with a much more modest outcome. Something simple, like, let's take time to get to know each other. Had that been the result, we wouldn't have been able to help them in time. What if he said that because he was thinking that far ahead?" He paused. "We'll set the matter of Bibi aside for now, but I believe this is for the best." The discussion then shifted. "What kind of country is Ferngone exactly?" one of the young women asked. "To develop international relations, we must learn more about their values and customs. We will need to investigate Ferngone," Atwa agreed. "But their capital is very far away, so that will take time. For now, we must prioritize Dragontan. They need our help. We will need an official reason to enter another country directly," cautioned an old minister named Moltar. The council debated who should lead the mission, with many volunteering, including Moltar himself. The king was faced with a difficult choice, but to everyone's shock, he selected two of the youngest girls. The decision was met with stunned silence. The king, however, assured them, "I have something in mind to protect them." He then turned to a heartbroken Atwa, who felt overlooked and was ready to give him the silent treatment. The king leaned in and whispered in her ear, thanking her deeply for always thinking of him and his comfort. He took her hands in his. "I didn't mean to make you worry so much, Atwa," he said softly. "I would never have come this far if you weren't by my side. Please, cheer up. You are the only one for me." At that moment, Atwa fell completely and utterly in love with him all over again, remembering the time he gave her a ring as a token of his affection. Later, the king, along with Atwa, went to present the two chosen girls with their guardians, a special unit the king himself had created a short time ago. What adventures await these two young envoys on their critical mission? The answer lies in the chapters to come. Our episode today begins with King Tako and the group of girls with him, as they look upon the clinic's building, which is a very large, newly designed structure built at the lowest possible cost. They have come here today to see this clinic. They enter inside and see 3 guards with terrifying appearances, but they greet them with the warmest welcome, saying, "Our great king, King Era Takuto, has finally arrived here. What a great surprise. It is an honor for us that you visit us here." Then they told him, "Command us as you wish, O king. We will understand and execute anything you ask of us, for you have been so kind to us. We were unemployed, and you employed us here. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts." He says, "I hope you are suitable guards. I also did not expect that we would hire you so quickly." At that moment, the 2 girls ask him, "Oh king, who are these people?" Takuto explains, "They are doctors at the clinic. They can treat injuries and illnesses, but they can also fight and protect you." Then Oto speaks up and says to them, "Listen carefully. The king has nominated you to be here and to protect these 2 girls on their way to Dragon Town, and also to monitor the culture and current state of that land." They were very welcoming to this idea. They made strange gestures and then said, "We accept with great gratitude this honorable mission." They were spontaneously welcoming. Meanwhile, Takuto thinks, "Maybe I should do something worthy of kings." He takes a step closer to them and says, "Listen, I know it's still early, but I will grant you a reward for protecting these 2 girls and obeying their orders. I know you don't have names, and I will grant you human names now. The names Ichiro, Jiro, and Saburo. You can use these names from now on. We know, my friends, that these people are obsessed with humans. They become very happy with these beautiful names, but they were so overly enthusiastic that Takuto was extremely surprised by what was happening, to the point that they started dancing with joy. The scene now shifts to Entellus, that woman with the big ears. She says, "I've had enough of this. There is so much work on my shoulders as mayor." We now know that she is the mayor of that village. "I thought I had finally freed myself to live a free life, away from that boring, rigid elven nation. I thought I would fall in love with a handsome man and live with him forever. But let this whole world go to hell. I'm fed up with everything." She adds, "How could I ever cooperate with the forces of darkness to protect this city? I never thought I'd be like this." At that moment, a woman enters while the mayor is very angry. The mayor tries to return her appearance to something nice and not show her anger. She says, "Yes, my dear, do you want something?" The other woman informs her that some people wish to meet with her. The mayor asks, after changing her expression, "Did they have an appointment?" The other woman replies, "No." Upon hearing this, she tells her, "Ask them to leave. My time is more precious than gold. Anyone who interrupts me should die." Her maid tells her, "But your honor, they said they are envoys from Minogara." The mayor becomes very happy and says, "You didn't say that from the beginning. Let them in immediately." She then welcomes them, saying, "Welcome to Dragon Town." The mayor welcomes them to Dragon Town and introduces herself as Entellus Antic, and that she holds the position of mayor here. When she focuses on them, she finds that a large aura of energy surrounds them. She is very surprised, as she thinks they are allied with the staff bearers. She welcomes them again and thanks them for going to the trouble of traveling all this way. The girl responds and tells her that her name is Karia, the 4th of Minogara, and this is her older sister, Maria the 4th. The mayor laughs, but says to herself that they are from the Dark Elves, as she had heard that Minogara had accepted them as citizens. However, she does not know the nature of these 2 girls. The 3 who stand behind them, however, call for caution, as she had heard long ago about assassins from the Dark Elves. She then tells them that their visit was a surprise to her, and that she was not prepared to give them a proper welcome. Still, she talks to herself, wondering what children like them are doing as envoys. She feels that there is something bigger behind these 2 sisters. Then she remembers Ms. Tonokabuli, who said that there were 2 sisters named the 4th, and that the king himself was supervising their education to become the future leaders of this nation. She understands that these are the 2 she meant, that they are very important, but they are very young. If she makes even a small mistake with them, a disaster will occur. She then asks them what brought them to her city. Jiro answers on their behalf, saying that the visit was in response to an invitation from Mr. Bibe, the staff bearer, to come and play. He suggests she consider them students who have come to learn about another nation's way of life. He says this is just the first step to paving the way for a smooth exchange in the future, so please consider it just a courtesy visit. These young women are still in a stage of learning, and it would be best to avoid formal conversations with them. The mayor understands that they have not come here to negotiate any agreements, and that she will consider them tourists who have come to her city. The mayor is very happy because this is just a get-to-know-you meeting, though she must be careful not to upset these 2 girls. She then tells them that, in this case, they are free to wander the sights of her city, and she can even accompany them on a tour herself. The 2 girls are surprised that she will personally take them on a tour. The mayor tells them that she knows every corner of this city. Her intention is to get closer to them, and to make sure she leaves a decisive impression on them, as this is important for the success of future negotiations. She then asks them to start touring the city. She does indeed tour her city with them, telling them that they have several different factions here. At that moment, Takuto is watching them using his magic. He is very happy because things are going well. Oto tells him that her device has stopped working. He apologizes to her and continues his work. We return once again to the mayor and the 2 girls after they have finished their tour, and dusk has set in. The mayor leaves them to return to her work. The two girls then go to the place where they will spend the night, where they sit together to review what they have gathered from today's investigation. Caria asks her sister Maria how she feels today. Maria replies that she felt worried because the citizens have no food and the enemies outside are scary, and no one will come to save them. She doesn't know what to do with them. Jiro tells her that her words are very accurate, as she is indeed sensitive to the feelings of others, and therefore she can sense their feelings completely. For this reason, Jiro wanted to give her this herb. Caria speaks to Maria after Ichiro gives her the herb, saying, "This is the Bobel herb. Even its fruits are here." Jiro asks her if she knows it. Caria then tells him that it is a plant that causes a strong euphoria and hallucinations. Almost all nations warn against its use, cultivation, and harvesting, but its condition is good, and it is free of holes and insects, so it is not a wild plant. It could have been cultivated by someone, as it is a very powerful narcotic. Ichiro replies, "That is bad. Go and get rid of it. It is sold in the markets of Dragontown. This is a dangerous trade." Caria continues, stating that Intellis works very hard. Saburo advises them to be careful, even while sightseeing. Make sure to protect the two young ladies. They then visit the Dragon's Pulse mine and are amazed by the mines they see. Saburo says it was skillfully hidden under the earth, but it seems they couldn't conceal it completely. Caria and Maria recall their mother, who used to tell them that this world is full of beautiful places and things they haven't discovered yet. Then, a man named Festa approaches them, saying, "The Bobel herb is good in this area. Please forgive my sudden interruption. I run a business here in the city." They introduce themselves. Caria asks him what he wanted to discuss. He tells her he is a merchant, so it's only natural for him to want to discuss business. "I heard that this land will be under joint administration with your country. What do you think about that? Are you willing to cultivate the Bobel herb here with me?" Caria asks him, "What benefit will Minogara gain, and what did our king tell you?" He tells them that the Bobel herb is sold at a high price, and of course he will offer other deals too. But this is not the right place to go into details. Please come to this location after sunset today, and we'll talk there in detail. It's nice to deal with people who have an evil streak. They always understand things easily. As for the current mayor, she's not flexible, which makes things difficult. I'm confident that your king will also be pleased, and I will be waiting for you tonight. He bids them farewell and leaves. After that, Caria and Maria speak with Mayor Intellis. They thank her for her help, stating that they are not that interesting, but please count on them if they encounter a problem. Intellis tells them, "The important thing is that I managed to build a connection with you. I'm sure you will present me in the best possible light to the king of Minogara." Suddenly, Festa enters, and Intellis gets angry when she sees him. She asks him why he came here. Festa replies, "I got permission from the staff," and asks Caria and Maria if they have considered his offer. Maria answers, "You mean cultivating the Bobel herb?" He tells her, "Yes, you never came to me, so I came to get the answer myself." Intellis is shocked that they made a deal with Festa behind her back. "I am allied with the power of darkness, and with a scoundrel like him, the city is doomed." Caria says, "It is impossible for us to deal with someone like him, and I thought you would understand that when we didn't come to answer you." She asks Ms. Intellis for permission to handle these men themselves. Ms. Intellis allows her, as these men have been meddling with her city a lot. The three guards stand in front of the three members of the gang, who are holding a syringe containing a concentrated extract of the Bobel herb. One injection will make a person unable to live without it, and will make them follow the orders of these people and this gang. Caria threatens the gang leader, saying that if he tries to harm them, she will make Minogara your enemy. "We may be two weak girls, but King Takuto, the man who entrusted us with this mission, is a great king." The gang leader says, "I'll be fine. With this syringe, you two girls will obey my orders. And after that, I'm sure that perverted imbecile Takuto will be silent and do everything I say." He gives the syringe to his companions and tries to escape, but the guards assigned by King Takuto to protect the two girls eliminate them in an instant and prevent the gang leader from escaping. Scene then shifts to King Takuto, who says, "I can't believe that unit would be truly useful in this world." Emily enters and asks, "Why did you send doctors to be their guards? You could have sent warriors instead of them." Oto replies, "We sent them because they love humans very much, including the half-humans close to them. That's why they have some unique abilities. They are good at both healing and killing humans. They love humans, but couldn't become humans themselves. These are our brain eaters." Emily is very scared by that. The scene shifts once again to the gang leader, who is very afraid. These doctors were able to eliminate his followers in an instant, and a lot of blood has been shed. They reveal their true faces and are happy after tearing apart the followers of this evil leader, saying, "We will become much closer to being real humans." This evil leader and Ms. Intellis are very scared by the sight of these warriors. Maria then reassures her and orders the soldiers to quickly dispose of him. "You have insulted our king, and that is the greatest unforgivable mistake you could ever make. We will show you no mercy, and I will never forgive anyone who offends our king." The soldiers capture him in an instant. Looking overjoyed, Ms. Intellis is terrified. Caria apologizes for the mess and the chaos in her room, saying she didn't expect those bird-headed people to go this far. Ms. Intellis says there is no problem at all, but she says it in a terrified voice. and out of sheer fear, she wets herself. She sees the three guards acting like maniacs and begins to laugh. This is where our episode ends today. Wait for us in future episodes of this anime, and we ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all that is new. The episode begins with King Takto, as Otto speaks to him, saying, "My king, you granted these two so much freedom. Why did you do that? Were you watching them before? Did you stop doing your work to observe them with your shared consciousness? Why did you do this? You even had plenty of time to warn them with your telepathy." He replies, "Yes, but I didn't want to be harsh on them and make them hate me. They are at an age where they are easily influenced by anything." Otto becomes furious. "Are you their father? Are you one of those fathers who leaves all the unpleasant reprimands to the mother so you can look good in front of your children?" She then turns to the two of them and says, "And what were you two thinking? Conspiring with King Takto to cover it up. It's too late to cover it up." She looks at the three of them and continues, "I heard you skinned someone in front of the mayor." They respond, "Yes, we've taken a step closer to being human, to getting closer to people. We got human skin, look." "Shut up," she says angrily. Afterward, the king speaks. "I think the mind flayers had a bad influence on them." Otto is extremely angry. "These two gave the orders to those bird brains with such passion to do it. I sent them extra warnings to at least adhere to a minimum of decency, and this is the result. None of you will leave this place until you've thought carefully about what you've done." The scene now shifts to a meeting. The king is seated with everyone around him, and Otto is still angry. "Let's begin the meeting about what to do regarding Dragon Town," she says. Everyone tries to calm Otto down, as she's too furious to control her emotions. The meeting must proceed smoothly and easily, so that things can be handled properly, as the Dragon Town issue is now the priority. The grandfather speaks to the two sisters. "Can we assume your investigation was exactly as reported in this report?" They reply, "Yes. We also presented it to the king, so it should be accurate." He tells them, "It seems then that the city is in a state of turmoil. They lack the resources to maintain order, and crime rates appear to be on the rise. Sooner or later they will face some kind of upheaval." Otto adds, "And on top of all that, they are also under external attacks from barbarians. Troubles don't come alone. According to this report, they're facing goblins, orcs, and sometimes hill giants. I know goblins and orcs aren't the problem, but losses are unavoidable against hill giants. They suddenly appear in groups near the city, and their numbers increase by a few units almost every day. This is likely due to their weak enemy detection ability, so they appear unexpectedly. Savages usually have sharp senses that allow them to quickly detect approaching enemies, but they seem to be very exhausted. In any case, if nothing changes, it's only a matter of time before the nation of Dragontown falls. Everyone agrees they must send a large force as soon as possible. However, they also shouldn't send everyone, so as not to affect the workers and farmers, which would impact their country's economy. They have the main army, and if they need anything from the reserves, they can use them. This means that in this situation, they will probably resort to a specific plan, and Otto will participate. She possesses a strange ability to steal useful skills from people, even from weak barbarians. King Takto tells her that this is a great opportunity to strengthen her power. He also informs her, "I intended to include you once we decided to send troops, but in the end, we will need more men to achieve a decisive victory over our enemies." Everyone is very worried. The matter is not easy, and it's the first time they've fought a war like this. Their national defense has relied on Lady Otto's presence until now. Takto and Otto's discussion about the Dark Elves, the new hero, and the future of their kingdom, Otto tells him that if he wants to point something out, he should go ahead. Takto replies that he was right to allow the Dark Elves to participate in their meetings. It's completely different from when he had to think about everything on his own. Since he is running a real civilization, their contribution is essential, and this strategy is excellent. He asks them to continue in this way. The elf leaders are happy with his encouragement and promise him they will always live up to his expectations. Takto is also pleased because their words increase their enthusiasm. Unlike in a game, a leader's role is to bring out all of their followers' potential. It's a difficult but incredibly rewarding task. We then see the people of his town in the forest in front of a large tree, where they are waiting for a new hero to be born. Korea asks him what kind of hero he will summon now, and he tells her it's a surprise they should look forward to. He then communicates with Otto telepathically, asking her what she thinks will happen to Isela, who is the first hero they've summoned since coming to this world. Otto replies that she can't even guess, but is confident she will protect him if any rebellion occurs. Takto responds that he can face this crucial moment because she is always by his side and is willing to go that far, but he won't be able to summon her again if she is lost. So he begs her not to sacrifice herself. He then uses his power and summons Isela. When Isela appears, she welcomes Takto and tells him she is honored to be granted this meeting with him here. She then introduces herself as the Lady of All Insects and says her being trembles with true joy at the idea of serving him once again. Takto welcomes her and tells her he hasn't seen her in a long time and asks if she remembers him. Isela laughs and tells him that of course she remembers him. Otto then asks her to allow her to verify something, whether she will truly serve him or not. Isela responds that she is being very silly. Of course she will serve Takto, for the days she spent leading. With him are etched into her being. He is the only one who could unleash her full power, and she will never forget him. She was always King Tacto's favorite. She then asks him to explain the current situation. He tells her they will talk at the palace. They then return to his palace, and Tacto speaks with Isela, telling her what happened. He tells her there is a lot he doesn't understand, but he managed to get here thanks to Otto. Otto becomes shy and tells him that everything that happened was because he was always with her, and if she had been alone, she would have taken her own life. Isela replies that she will protect their peaceful nation in this strange land, as this is the duty they have entrusted to her. Tacto tells her that she is the hero in charge of defense above all else, and in this case, their hero in charge of the offense will be the one to eliminate the barbarians in Dragontown. Otto cries and tells him that sending her is the preferred decision, but she will miss him while doing it. Tacto tells her that he will miss her. Tacto feels sad and tells Otto, "I'll miss you so much too, but you're the only one I can entrust with this mission. I'm so worried because I don't know how I'll talk to the Dark Elves without you." Otto replies, "We've always been together since we came to this world, but now we'll be separated." They both cry and hug each other tightly. Afterward, Otto says her goodbyes, promising to return as soon as possible. Tacto is visibly heartbroken. Isela tells him that it's time for her to get to work. "I'm very excited. I'll do my part so you can enjoy this good game. Leave all the details to me." Then, Isela addresses Tacto, who is still sleeping. "You can't do anything by yourself. The sun has been up for a while, and I can't believe you haven't woken up yet." Marie comes in and says, "The king always sleeps until noon, and on days when he doesn't wake up by then, we or Lady Otto come to wake him." Isla is astonished. "You're acting like a child! No more excuses! We don't have time! You're the king of ruin, the leader of the great kingdom of Minogara! How do you think others will look at you when you sleep until noon and have women come to wake you up? Make sure you wake up in the morning from now on." A dejected Tacto says, "I'll do my best." Korea then speaks to Isla. "You are completely different from Otto. She always lets our king do whatever he wants." Isla asks Tacto to let her take Korea and Marie with her for a while. "I'm not used to the essential facilities in Minogara. I was hoping you could show me around." Tacto thinks to himself. So she wants to see things for herself instead of just reading a map to get a clear picture of our national defenses. He agrees to let them go. Afterward, Isla says, "Your people will be coming soon to ask for your approval. It would be best if you looked presentable." They then leave. Emil comes to Tacto with a paper and says, "I wanted to ask you to review the new adjustments to the work distribution and give your approval." Tacto feels nervous, thinking to himself, "This might be the first time I've spoken to someone other than Otto by myself." He tells Emil, "This is excellent. I think you did a really good job, but starting next week, reduce the number of workers assigned to gathering and direct them to other tasks." Emil informs him, "We are currently adjusting the amount we collect since we have finished summoning the hero, but I will do that for sure." Tacto says to himself, "There's no escape from a one-on-one conversation like this. It's so exhausting, but I'll do my best." Meanwhile, we see Isla, who tells Kari and Mari, "I want you to tell me everything you know about our facilities." Korea says, "This is the government office. It's where people submit their paperwork and reports are written. It's very neat and beautiful. I love it so much." On their way, they see Emil running quickly. Marie says to her, "You look very busy. Are you okay?" Emil replies with worry and nervousness, "Can you believe it? The training equipment is broken again. The rate of destruction is insane. I'm about to collapse trying to budget for it. I'm already burdened with work after Moltar's departure, as he adds more tasks to my plate." Isla says, "I will reprimand our chief warrior." Emil looks at her and says, "When you have time, I'd like to ask for your advice about our new building." Isla happily agrees. After that, we see them training. A brave warrior comes with great force and breaks their swords, angrily telling them, "You think you'll protect our king with this weak posture?" Suddenly, Isla appears before him and says, "Before you retrain them, you must first prepare your gear." He apologizes to her, shocked by her presence and her immense size. Isla begins to stroke his hair, saying, "If you want to protect our king, you must also have a calm mind." Suddenly, they hear a strange sound. The two girls take Isla and tell her it's dinner time, and that they should go together. It's evening, and we see them distributing food to the entire town, as this is less wasteful than everyone cooking for themselves. A cook approaches Miss Isla and tells her that she will sit in her special place and eat in dishes different from the others. But Isla tells them, "I will eat from the same dishes as the rest of the people. I am one of you, and I cannot perform my duty unless I share your perspective and feelings." The two girls then bring 2 plates, just like the others, but with Isla's image drawn on them. She is very happy and hugs them. They are so glad she's hugging them and patting their heads. In the evening, we see Isla walking through the village, thinking about planting live reeds at the borders, which would give them a perfect defense against intruders. Suddenly, she sees the 2 little girls, and one of them is crying. They are still awake, long past their bedtime. Korea says, "I woke up and couldn't go back to sleep. and Mariah woke up too because her sister was crying. Isla praises them and the kind older sister for taking care of her little sister. She asks them why they can't sleep. They say that they have dreams of happy times and dreams of their mother. They know they have to move on, but the scenes they see in their dreams are so warm and comforting. Then they wake up and remember that all of that is gone, and it hurts them so much. That's why whenever one of them cries because of a dream, the other wakes up to be by her side. But it's okay. They don't have these dreams much lately, and tonight was the first time in a while. They apologize for disturbing her and say they will go back to sleep soon. A wonderful idea comes to Isela. I will sleep with you from now on. When you wake up, you'll at least find me here with you, and I will always be here for you. I promise. They are so happy, and they remember the good times with their mother and fall asleep in Isela's arms. We return to the palace, and Isela tells the king, after discussing the matter with little Emile, I recommend that the Educational Institute be our next construction project. The king agrees because it's a very necessary building, and they will build the live reeds afterward. Isla says, the forest gives an advantage to the dark elves, and the cursed field gives an advantage to all evil creatures, and I am here now, so we will be fine for a while. The king acknowledges that they are not in the midst of a war anyway, so there's no need to modify their defenses. Isla tells him that little Korea told her something that made her make a decision, and it made her heart jump with joy. She remembers when Korea said, I want to learn many things to be more useful to our king. Isla tells the king this, and he is very happy. She then asks what's happening with little Atto now. The king tells her that it seems she's in a bit of a funny situation. The scene then shifts to Atto, and King Takto also sees her. A huge troll comes to attack her, and many of them are there. Can Atto defeat them? And will she return safely to our great king? That's what we'll find out in the next episode, so stay tuned and please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all our new content. Our story begins today with the great king Takuto. He summons a large being who greets them saying, I am honored to be here with you. I have come from the lands of the east. They take the being to a place and explain everything. This magnificent insect named Icy has 6 eyes and 4 wings. People are trying to get used to her because she loves them dearly. Now, the time for the great battle has arrived. We see these people rapidly storming the area, but Icy strikes them with her claws with incredible speed. The village elder is shocked by what she witnesses. At the same time, she is scared, and her behavior is strange. Icy tells her, perhaps you should rest now. The elder leaves. The scene then shifts to Icy as the villagers bring her a warm drink. They've bonded well with her, which is a good sign. All this credit goes to Mr. Bebe, a small child who calls Icy an octopus, greatly annoying her. He then leaves. Icy remembers this incident and is very angry. Molitar tells her, focus, why are you distracted? I have a question for you. How is your progress in stealing abilities from these barbarians? Didn't you say you'd gather their powers? Have you done it or not? She replies, don't worry, everything is going well. Even though they are weak, this group has better abilities than they deserve. Molitar laughs and says, amazing, amazing. I am confident that the king is ours. At that moment, they see a giant of the hills approaching from a distance. But there's a trick to it, because Molitar doesn't sense any magical energy or power from 2 kilometers away. The fact that this Molitar appears only 500 meters away means there's a problem. Perhaps the ground defenses haven't fully activated, or there's a malfunction in the defensive system. Icy tries to discover the trick behind their sudden appearance. At that moment, the village leader comes running saying, help! Help! The hill giant has appeared! Should I tell the archers to prepare? But Icy tells her, don't worry about it. I will be enough on my own. With that, Icy rushes off. Molitar tells the village leader, don't worry about her. This hill beast is weak, useless. But I won't stand idly by. I must use my power too, and participate from my spot. He then deploys a smoke bomb that engulfs the large troll beast, while Icy directly attacks it, flying upwards and striking its neck, decapitating it. When it dies, she sees something strange. Gold pieces. This is very unusual. Icy then speaks with Takuto, informing him that when she defeated the hill giant earlier, its body disappeared, and gold pieces appeared in its place. She then asked Elder Molitar about it, who told her that this was the first time he had witnessed such a thing, and that he had never even seen gold pieces before. Takuto then told her that he would use his shared knowledge. He does so and sees these gold pieces. When he sees them, he feels like he has seen them before but cannot remember where. He tries to remember and then recalls brave Questos. Suddenly, a massive army appears before Icy and her companions, approaching from a distance. After that, we see the holy sorceress walking with her army in the ruined city. Suddenly, the consuming sorceress, Arachino, appears and kills the holy sorceress's men. As she approaches the holy sorceress, she greets her and tells her that she is happy to meet her, as she hasn't seen them in a long time. The holy sorceress informs her that they have executed her 17 times previously, and all of them succeeded thanks to their sacrifice. So why doesn't she die now and let them finish her off? Arachino replies that she knows they have tried to kill her 17 times, and she wonders why. But she knows that she is very strong, just like her. The holy sorceress tells her that she knows she is trying to do something, but she still doesn't know what it is, but she will try to kill her every time. The sorceress tells her that it is her turn now. She then signals all the dead to rise, as she has turned them into zombies. She then orders them to attack the Holy Sorceress to kill her. The Holy Sorceress uses her spell, creating a very large circle of fire around her to protect herself from the zombies. She then unleashes these flames on all of them, killing them, all with ease. She then grabs the sorceress and kills her easily, but she still doesn't understand what is happening here in this area. We then return to Icy, where everyone is unaware of where this huge army came from. One of the guards asks the messengers to hurry and inform Mayor Antilles. Takuto then continues his conversation with Icy, informing her that their enemy is a traditional Japanese role-playing game called Brave Questos, where you play the role of a hero and embark on an adventurous journey with your companions to defeat the final boss, the Demon King, and save the world. It is a famous game and is said to be the ancestor of most computer role-playing games. Icy understands that he means that the reason for their sudden appearance is that they are exploiting this. Takuto informs her that she is correct, and since there are no warnings for random encounters with the enemy in Brave Questos, he believes they are exploiting this. He was afraid that there might be other similar people, but he never expected them to come from a completely different type of game. The possibility was probably sufficient. Takuto then tells her that the information they obtained from the Holy Knight revealed the name of a unit that was never part of the Eternal Nations. Isela replies, "I've played Brave Questos before, which means you know how we can defeat our enemy." Takuto then tells Icy that he will tell her how to defeat their enemy now. The scene then shifts to these demons. Ace speaks to Flamand. "Has the Demon King issued any orders?" Flamand laughs, saying, "Yes, the same orders. Nothing new. All the monsters and plans are ours to command as we wish. It may be a different world, but His Majesty the Demon King has not diminished." Ace says, "We must reward this trust placed in us. We are truly fortunate to have been suddenly summoned to this land. All the orcs and goblins here are now part of the Demon King's forces. This is what we expect from our great ruler. He is truly fit to rule this world." Then he says, "I will ask you a foolish question, but what happened to our ambitions for the world we came from?" Flamand tells him, "None of that matters. Our priority now is to carry out the Demon King's orders." We then see Ace saying, "Advance. All forces. We will crush this city and offer the despair and suffering of its people to the Demon King." Flamand tells him, "I will not participate for now. You can have the honor of leading them. It is time for me to go now. I cannot focus on my own goals." They quickly head towards the city, but suddenly this smoke appears, and they become tired. Ace is surprised and asks the person what is happening. He replies, "We believe it is an enemy spell." But Ace is surprised, saying, "There is no spell of this wide scope. I find it hard to believe. The orcs and goblins are suffering, while pure demons like us are gaining strength. This spell is the work of someone loyal to the forces of evil." Then Icy comes and kills this person, saying, "You are all from a role-playing game." Ace is surprised by her presence and asks her, "Who are you?" She tells him, "I am a frost mage. You must be Ace, one of the 4 generals. I came from a nation-building simulation game called Eternal Nations. I serve our great and mighty king, Takuto, and I am the one who will kill all of you. After that, we go to the palace and monsters appear." The princess asks them to bring every arrow they have, evacuate the city, and take the inhabitants to the northwest complexes. Once the exit path is secured, they will abandon the city. Elder Molitar appears, telling her, "There's no need for all that trouble. We are here by your side." The princess tells him, "We are facing a huge army. It's in a state of chaos because of your spell now, but that will only delay them. My current strength cannot stop them." They are then surprised by an attack from outside, and they expect it to be from Icy. Molitar rejoices, saying, "That woman is the proud hero of Minogara. Since she has entered the battlefield, there is no chance of defeat. I am confident that she will decapitate our enemy's general, and without their general, that army will be nothing but a rabble. We can easily eliminate them with our current forces." The mayor is very surprised. We then see Icy defeating this great army with her octopus-like tails until only this ice orc remains. He attacks her with an ice attack, but she easily dodges and blocks his attack. She then attacks him with her sword in quick succession, and some gold coins fall from him, but he is still alive. Icy says that it is exactly as King Takuto expected. King Takuto tells her that battles in role-playing games are between small teams, but in simulation strategy games, battles take place at the army level, meaning that a single unit's attacks target the entire enemy army. This difference should greatly work in their favor. It doesn't matter if they face a huge army. In the end, they are no match for you, Icy. This orc then asks Icy not to interfere because she is evil too and must bow before their lord, the Demon King, and join in spreading his rule throughout the world. Icy is surprised by this and mocks him. The orc tells her that they seek to create a world for themselves, the demons, a world without humans. But she tells him that there is no point in that. The situation is difficult enough with all this work that she has to do now, and that is for just one ordinary country. Yet you want the whole world, and you, orc, have been defeated repeatedly by the hero. He then gets angry and tells her to shut up and attacks her repeatedly, but to no avail. Icy provokes him and tells him that he is very weak and was only created to be defeated. He then gets angrier and radiates a powerful light, or aura of energy. But AC believes that such an attack will not affect her. He is a very weak person. But suddenly, she finds that her legs are frozen by his ice and she cannot move. This orc then attacks her powerfully in her shoulder and she falls to the ground. The orc tells her that this was his strongest blow. Then, to her great surprise, Icy rises again and attacks him powerfully with her tails, finishing him off instantly. Many gold coins fall from him, and her wounds heal instantly. After that, she gains the orc's ability and is very happy because she will send the report to King Takuto, telling him that she has finished and that the enemy was one of the 4 generals. And although she suffered a minor injury, she completely defeated him. But suddenly this monster named Flamand appears, with his hands glowing with fire, and with him is a huge army. Icy is very shocked by this. Will Icy be able to defeat this army alone in this state, after losing a lot of blood and being exhausted from fighting that orc? This is what we will find out in the next episode, so stay tuned. But we ask you to subscribe to the channel and activate the bell button to receive all our new content. When a kingdom's greatest champion faces one of the Demon King's 4 strongest generals, the battle shakes the very earth. But what happens when a triumphant victory turns into a horrifying trap? Get ready, because the real fight is just beginning. The episode ignites as Otto strikes down one of the 4 great generals. Though she sustains a minor injury, her victory is absolute. But suddenly, she senses the presence of another enemy force in their town. A man appears with his aides, remarking how beautiful the town is. The scene then shifts to Takuto. A guard rushes in, informing him that enemy forces have entered the cursed lands. Takuto calmly replies that he is already aware. Isela explains that their king possesses the power to know everything that happens in his territory. She adds that their main forces, along with Gia, have already deployed at high speed and will also move to the residential area, so the guard must return to his post immediately. The guard quickly retreats. The 2 sisters then approach Takuto, asking about the situation in the town. Is it dangerous? Isela reassures them, telling them that she and their master are here before all else, so there is nothing to worry about, even though the situation is somewhat unpleasant. She admits she never thought they would be attacked here, but now she doesn't know what they should do. There's a chance the enemy leader, this so-called Demon King, could be another player just like their master. And if he is, Takuto responds that it doesn't matter if he's a player or not. Peace between them is difficult at this stage. Oto has already taken down one of their generals, so they will surely come to crush them with all their might. He tells her they must launch their counterattack. With that, he leads them out of the palace. As they walk, Takuto tells Isela that they have her power as the champion of defense. They also have the Dark Elven warriors led by Gia. Although there aren't many, their morale is at its peak. They also have the Brain Eaters. They only possess 3, but their healing abilities will prove dependable in this situation. Finally, they have the larvae that Isela has birthed. While they are specialized for labor, they should be able to fight to some extent. And above all, Isela's very presence here enhances their abilities. Isla decides to birth some combat larvae as well, to get the job done. But Takuto tells her there's no use thinking about that now. What they have is enough. Just then, Emil communicates with Takuto via telepathy, informing him that they have finished evacuating those who cannot fight. Takuto tells her they are on their way and will join them immediately. Next, Gia contacts Takuto, providing a rough report on the number of enemies that have entered the cursed lands. Takuto is pleased. Emil and Gia are capable of thinking for themselves and acting on his orders. He truly has dependable people under his command. He asks Gia for the enemy count. Gia reports he can see approximately 1,000 enemies invading the cursed lands, in addition to goblins and orcs. He can also see unfamiliar and grotesque creatures. Takuto thanks him, ordering him to continue focusing on the defense of the area around the capital while he handles the enemy. Takuto reflects on the enemy numbers. It's a lot. It's highly likely one of the 4 heavenly generals is among them. He feels this battle is going to be difficult indeed. Isla tells him he's already decided on their strategy, so why worry? Takuto replies that their reserves of magical energy are for moments precisely like this. They are facing a difficult game, and it's time to show them their power. Isla understands immediately. He intends to create units through emergency production. If he uses that, he can easily reverse the disparity in numbers. The ability to produce any units they want, as long as they have the magical energy, is an incredibly useful mechanic for them. Takuto declares that he is granting her the town's entire reserve of magical energy, so she can raise her level as much as possible. Indeed, Isla is able to level up. Takuto then instructs her to be sure to acquire the predation and parasitic egg skills, and to use that power to overwhelm the enemy. Isla thanks him for entrusting everything to her in such a crisis. Afterward, Takuto states that he has a general overview of the enemy's forces from the Dragonton battle. Even if one of the 4 heavenly generals is there, she is now more than capable of handling them. He tells her, "Show me why you are known as the champion of defense." Isla declares, "I, the queen of insects, will rise to your expectations and defeat all your enemies for your sake. Takuto tells her he has faith in her, but warns her to be wary of any common attacks found in RPG game mechanics. The two sisters look on, extremely worried for her. She tells them she will return to them safely, so there's no need to worry. Isela turns to Maria and Karia. Don't look at me with such sadness. I will make sure to come home. I've made you a promise, Maria tells her. We will take care of the king and wait for you. Isla bids them farewell and departs. The scene shifts to a forest, where a group of monsters and men are gathered. One of the men complains, "Why did we have to split from Ice Rock and invade this place alone?" A monster replies, "There's a strong chance this operation is happening without the Demon King's approval. Perhaps the chief is planning to betray the Demon King." It seemed things were different for the chief and the Demon King. Suddenly, a man's body begins to contort strangely, and he explodes in their faces. But they deflect the blast. Isla appears saying, "You are all part of the Demon King's army, the forces of darkness. Why are you retreating? If you are forces of darkness, you should be more beautiful, cruel, and absolute." We then see that Isla has slaughtered every monster in the area. She remarks, "They aren't very nutritious. I think I'll give them a 30. I'm talking about your followers." A fearsome demon appears, saying, "Yes, that's a terrible thing to say about them. I want to get to know you better." Isla introduces herself. "I serve the kingdom of Minogara, ruled by the great king of ruin, King Takuto. I am one of his champions, the queen of insects." She then asks the fearsome demon to identify himself. He tells her, "I am one of the 4 heavenly generals of the Demon King's army, Flamane, the flame demon." Isla is overjoyed. "So one of you is actually here. I expected a commander to be present with an army of this size, like Ice Rock was in Dragontan." The demon informs her, "He was overthrown. He was just a muscle-bound fool, and the weakest of us 4 heavenly generals. I am 2 ranks above him. So if you thought I'd be defeated as easily as him, you are mistaken." Isla retorts, "You seem very confident in yourself." The demon replies, "Of course. It will be easy for me to kill you and drag that king of yours from his throne." Enraged, Isla shouts, "That's big talk for scum like you." We see King Takuto thinking to himself, Isla is fighting the flame demon Flamane. When an RPG character faces a character from a nation management simulation game, the simulation character is overwhelmingly stronger in combat. We already confirmed that in the previous battle. It's only a matter of time before she defeats him. He continues his thoughts. The larvae not participating in the fight are patrolling the cursed lands and defeating invaders. Gia's warriors are spread out in a defensive formation around the capital. Emil is handling the elves who were evacuated. The brain eaters are nearby. Everything is proceeding smoothly. Theoretically, at least. The king then pauses, thinking about something. Karia asks him what he's thinking. "Something is bothering me deeply." "Did anything catch your attention?" The 2 girls say nothing is on their minds. Back at the battle between the flame demon and the queen of insects, Isla, the demon is shocked by Isla's immense power. He unleashes numerous blows, but they are completely useless. His attacks are too weak. He uses flames in his strikes, and she attacks him repeatedly, but he manages to dodge them. Suddenly, she launches a powerful attack through her larvae, completely covering him. Enraged, he ignites a massive fire around himself, incinerating all the larvae. When he sees that Isla has her followers, he summons his own. Isla tries to ask the demon a question, but he ignores her and attacks relentlessly with fireballs, all of which she deflects. She tells him, "There's no need to act like that. My master wishes to know." The demon's followers prepare and launch an attack on Isla, but she injects larvae into all of their bodies from underground, killing them all instantly. Isla tries to attack him repeatedly, but he flees and lands on a tree. She says, "Separating your forces from Dragontan to attack us seems like a foolish strategy." The demon replies, "Do you not know the reason? Or is your master simply hiding it from you? In any case, I feel sorry for you." But Isla tells him, "Your words cannot shake my loyalty to him." He launches a powerful attack at her, as she affirms, "I am the loyal servant of our king, Ira Takuto. Nothing more and nothing less." The demon screams, "I hate this! You describe yourself as his servant, yet you are filled with pride and conviction. That's why I'm so angry. It's because you are all free. You serve your king of your own free will, and your devotion to him is your choice." She replies, "Your words have no effect on me. Nothing brings me greater joy than being useful to my master. And what about you? Forced to dance to the tune of a role forced upon you." At this, the demon erupts in rage. "Once I've killed you all, I will obtain my absolute freedom." In his fury, flames shoot from him, reaching the sky. He unleashes these flames upon Isla. She tries to escape, but he corners her. In the final moment, Isla blocks the strike, encasing herself in a defensive stone-like egg. She then emerges and mocks him, "Is this the limit of your thirst for freedom?" He attacks her again, but she easily dodges it and says, "That's not nearly enough to kill me. If you truly want to kill me, you'll need to prepare at least 5 times that." The demon attacks again and again at incredibly high speed until his magical power is depleted. At that moment, Isla attacks him, slashing his stomach. Before she finishes him, she says, "I have one last message for you from my master. He said, 'You have greatly underestimated us.'" The demon remembers what his own leader said, "We will truly obtain peace and freedom if we sacrifice this world." Back in reality, Isla strikes the demon, splitting him in 2, and with that, she has defeated the blazing general, Flamane, one of the most powerful of the Demon King's 4 heavenly generals. At that moment, the king contacts her. congratulating her on a job well done. She is overjoyed that her master was watching her. Suddenly, their connection is severed. A message appears. Chat function is currently unavailable. Both of them are stunned. And then the girls, Korea and Maria, find themselves right there with Isela on the battlefield. They are all bewildered as to why they came here. They themselves don't know how. They cry out, "We were with the king just a moment ago! Why are we here?" Isla quickly commands her larvae to protect the girls, and suddenly, we see the flame demon smiling. He is still alive. He must have used a dirty trick knowing he was going to die. Will Isla be able to protect the two girls and return to her master victorious? We'll find out in the next episode, so stay tuned. But we ask that you please subscribe to the channel and activate the bell icon to receive all our new updates. Our story begins in chaos. Caria and Maria stood bewildered, Isela's voice cutting through their confusion. "What are you two doing here?" They had no answer. They didn't know what was happening or how they had arrived. We don't know," they stammered. "A moment ago, we were with the king. Miles away, that very king was reeling in disbelief." "It shouldn't be possible," he muttered, pacing his chamber. "How did they just vanish?" He reached out with his mind, his voice a desperate telepathic call. "Caria! Maria! Isela, please answer me now!" But only silence answered him. A chilling, absolute void. It was as if his telepathic link, once a clear channel, had been choked by static. But the true horror was not the silence. It was the beast. The very monster Isela had been fighting, the one she had cleaved in two, was still alive. Isela barked an order to her children. "Protect the girls!" They moved to form a defensive circle, but a strange force erupted, flinging them all apart. "Brain eaters!" Isela screamed, her voice raw with desperation. "Brain eaters, come to me now if you can hear me." She roared with all her might, but no one responded. Forsaking the call, she rushed to the terrified girls, embracing them in a protective hug. "We have to find a safe place," she whispered, pulling them away from the battlefield. But a cruel trick was being played upon them. After a quarter hour of frantic searching, she found a sheltered cave. As they stepped inside, the world seemed to warp and twist, and they found themselves standing right back where they had started, the cackling of the monstrous beast echoing around them. "Don't waste your energy," it rasped, a sickening grin on its face. "You cannot kill what is already dead." Isela lunged, aiming a fatal blow at its head, but an invisible barrier shimmered into existence, deflecting her strike. "It makes no difference to me now." In the Far East, Takuta watched the events unfold through a scrying pool. "What will you do, Isela?" he murmured to himself. "I remember this from a game. The general died, yet he rose again. This is the same." Back on the battlefield, the monster's voice dripped with malice. "I will devour you all. You will not win. You will not touch a single hair on their heads." Isela snarled, her fury incandescent. "Don't worry, my girls. I will protect you with every last ounce of my strength." She unleashed a furious barrage of attacks, but each one crashed harmlessly against its impenetrable barrier. Then, the truly unthinkable happened. Crimson rains of energy shot out from the beast, wrapping around the girls and Akela's own children. Their eyes glazed over as if in a trance. Their bodies no longer their own. "Stay behind me. Don't move!" Isela commanded, but her children's voices were hollow echoes. We can't control ourselves." Isela reached for them, trying to pull them back, but they moved like puppets on a string, shuffling inexorably toward the monster. "Now!" the beast hissed, its eyes locked on Isela. "Now you will watch as I tear them apart piece by piece right before your very eyes. Let's see what you can do then." "If you do," she seethed, "I will kill you. Not before you can move," it taunted. The crimson rains tightened around Isela, paralyzing her. The girls cried out for help, their voices filled with terror. Isela strained against the magical bindings, but it was useless. "You can do nothing," the beast gloated. "But I will tell you a secret. This curse, this mechanism, is called a programmed event. You cannot break free." Yet she did not surrender. She fought, pouring her energy into her body, trying to expand and shatter the restraints. "Fools!" the monster roared, its voice a storm of hatred. "You cannot live here. This world belongs to the strong. We, the demons, will conquer everything. Your place is beneath the dirt. Why did you even come? We will erase every trace of you. And your king, Takuto? He is no better than me. His heart should be set ablaze. I wish he were here to watch your heads being separated from your bodies. Perhaps that would finally satisfy my rage." With a final declaration of hatred for all of them, the world around them exploded in a flash of light. The twins, Maria and Korea, sat atop a colossal ancient tree, the memory a serene oasis in their minds. From this vantage point, they could see their entire town sprawling below. It was beautiful. Their king had told them that this land belonged to everyone, so it was their land, and their mother, Isela's land, too. They looked up at the moon, a brilliant, shining orb in the night sky. Maria remembered another of the king's lessons. When someone says, "The moon is beautiful," it's another way of saying, "I love you." They were always in awe of their king and the endless things he knew. "When did the king teach you such wonderful things?" Caria asked her sister. They decided then and there that they had to bring their mother, Isela, to this place. From here, the land of everyone looks so beautiful, they thought. They wanted to tell her that the moon was beautiful. The next full moon would be the perfect night. Suddenly, the idyllic scene shattered. They found themselves in a deep, dark crater, and before them lay their mother. She was a ruin of her former self, her body pierced with countless wounds, her right arm completely severed from her body. She was in a truly wretched state. The shock paralyzed them. Isela tried to speak, her voice a ragged whisper. "Are you all right?" She couldn't form the words. The twins scrambled to her side, tears streaming down their faces, their own fears forgotten. "Mother, are you okay?" they cried. "Your injuries. We have to get you to the king, to the birdheads. They can heal you." Caria screamed for the king, but her voice was swallowed by the darkness. There is no need for treatment, Isela gasped. Listen to me. Carefully, she looked at them with an expression of profound love and sorrow. I am sure you both already know, but I will not survive this. There is something I must entrust to you. We'll be good girls, we promise. They sobbed, interrupting her. But first, we have to find a way to save you. There is no way, she said softly. We won't let you die, they wailed. We wanted to live with you forever. Isela managed a weak, pained smile. You have done nothing wrong. It was I who was too weak. Their cries intensified. Let us die with you then. There is no point in living anymore. There is no good left in this life. Listen, she commanded gently, her voice gaining a sliver of its old strength. Listen to my final words. She placed her remaining hand on her chest. Forgive your mother for dying before your eyes. With a final agonizing effort, she reached into her own chest and tore out her heart, a pulsing orb of light. Now I have one last request. Please do this for me. Live on. Why? Caria choked out. Why must we do that again? Isela's gaze turned distant. Forgive me, my king, for this selfish act. I have used the experience I gained to learn the skill. Crown succession. A blinding ray of light erupted from the pulsing heart. I give all of my strength to you both, she whispered, her voice fading. Live your lives as you wish. I love you so much. Her body went limp and fell to the ground. She was gone. As the twins wept over their mother, a horde of monsters swarmed towards the warrior Atu. You do not need to come with me, she told her soldiers. That is not true, an old warrior replied, his face grim. The king commanded me to march by your side and destroy the demon lord's fortress. I must hurry back to the king, Atu thought to herself before charging into the horde, her blades a whirlwind of death. But then a wave of profound loss washed over her. She knew. She threw her head back and screamed, a sound of pure agony. Isela, a hero of Minogara, is dead! The king, too, felt the loss. The Freeman programmed event. It was infamous, he said quietly, a message from the demon lord appearing before him. Isela has been destroyed. One more threat has been removed from the world. In the darkness of the crater, Caria and Maria consumed their mother's heart. That night, the king spoke with Atu. Isela was defeated. She was cornered in a death scene. This attack was a fatal mistake. Atu cried out. I failed to report a critical detail. The memory hit her like a physical blow. She had forgotten something vital. My king, Isela's defeat is an emergency. I will return to the capital at once. I know, Atu, the king said, his voice calm but heavy. Calm yourself. Isela is dead. That is a truth we cannot escape. However, the twins survived. Why do you mention the twins? They are moving south towards the enemy's stronghold. I believe they seek vengeance for their mother. They can't! Atu protested. They're not ready. Isela used crown succession, the king explained. They have inherited her station as a hero. We cannot afford to lose any more hero-class units. My orders are not reaching them. I need you to bring them back. If I may object, my king, Atu said, dropping to one knee. The mechanisms of this RPG world are a real threat. I implore you, reconsider. Grant me permission to protect you. I understand your concern, Atu, the king replied, his gaze unwavering. Nevertheless, I need you to go. Go for my sake. Takuto tells her, go for Raja's sake. I have entrusted them to Isela. However, Atu is deeply saddened by what happened to Isela and orders everyone with her to return to the capital. She thinks to herself, I forgot something extremely important. King Takuto was the greatest player in the Eternal Nations. I just have to trust him and obey his command. The captain of the guards speaks to the king, saying, we will soon finish cleaning up the rest who entered our land. Shall we begin pursuing the others? King Takuto replies, there's no need for you to act on your own. I will issue the necessary orders when the time comes. The head guard is surprised and says, what has happened to our king? Emily tells him, he seems like a completely different person now. Elsewhere, we see Caria heading to the defensive front to avenge Isela. She finds a group of soldiers standing before her and thinks to herself, why must we face and endure this suffering? Why do these horrible things always keep happening to us? This world is so painful. We notice she begins to act erratically, starting to dance and spin around as if she has lost her mind. The enemy, sitting in a vehicle, a mech, orders his soldiers to eliminate this intruder. Caria begins to activate a certain curse, eliminating all the soldiers who are with a yellow-haired girl. The girl tries to attack Caria, but Caria neutralizes the attack and eliminates her instantly, and her body begins to dissolve. A few soldiers remain and try to take her down with their machines, but to no avail. The man piloting the armored mech tries to engage in combat, but his machine won't move. He orders the soldiers with him to use their magic, but they don't respond. They have forgotten how to use it. Caria has nullified it all in the height of her rage. She says, this world itself hates us, and that is why we need love. She eliminates the remaining soldiers in an instant, then takes down the man piloting the mech and destroys his machine. At that moment, an emergency message and a critical announcement appear in the game. A new threat has emerged in the world. The Alvard sisters, the witches of regret. If they are not stopped, they will burn the world in sorrow and hatred, turning it to ash. And with that, our episode for today concludes, marking the end of the first part of this truly great and wonderful anime. Stay tuned for future parts, as we will be the first to bring you their summaries. But please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell to receive all our new content.